appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
We're always there for you.
Check.
We're always there for you.
All right. Well, I'll go post in a place or two, and then we can get us started a thing.
Get us a going on.
He says damn near killed him, like that's not actually actively happening right now.
Well,
But it hasn't happened yet, and that's
it's getting there. It's not there yet.
No one has died yet.
Yet.
Define how's you do to you, chaps. Fantastic. Just amuses every time. John posted in our channel.
Well, it's in case you
John,
guys
excellent.
have other places you're gonna put it. That's why.
And that's
Because
reasonable.
Travis asked me to do that like a while back.
Yeah, luckily I've got you, so you don't have to do it in mine anymore.
Yeah. Well, I know that you
saw-
have me in like Booze Lips, but like somebody was like, go ahead and give me the link and everything too. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just good overall.
okay.
I post in like one other spot, but
And I think my coworker's chiming in tonight because he was like, "You gonna stay over for drinks a little bit?" I was like, "Nah, man, can't. I got role playing." He's like, "Oh yeah, I kind of want to check that out." So he might be hopping in.
Man, he's gonna be real disappointed if you guys all die. So you're gonna have to pick it up a little.
Oh, trust me, if I die, he's gonna lord that over me until I leave, and even after.
Remember that time that I spent my evening watching you fail at your evening?
Yeah, that's what he's gonna do, and he's gonna be like, "Good times."
Good times.
I mean, pretty entertaining, but not the way I expected. It
I
was
just
nice.
need you guys to kill the ogre first, because
Like-
One.
the one that's currently threatening to kill everybody. If you kill that ogre, I'm right at the exit, so I can just leave.
Oh,
Oh, the big bad.
Yeah, the big bad.
Well, I can't get away from.
Jaja, you said the
Not so
big
big
booma.
you're in a big doo-doo this time.
There's I read the new Jedi book, or the new Star Wars book, The Light of the Jedi, and there's a character in there called Wet Bub, and Wet Bub is an evil Gungan. He's an evil Gungan who's part of this evil gang of like marauders on the Outer Rim, and they called him Wet Bub because the first couple of missions that he went on, when everybody comes back to the ship, he's just covered like head to toe in blood.
Jeez, holy
And
shit!
and at first they were just like, "What the fuck?" But they realized that like this is just how it's going to be with him every single time. Wet Bub goes out, Wet Bub comes back wet.
Was he
and
just
so-
Bub before?
Yes. And so they started calling him Wet Bub, and the guy who's like his boss says, "Well, we started calling him Wet Bub, and he didn't stab anybody, so I guess he likes it."
An evil Gungan just sounds hysterical to me.
Yeah, he doesn't play much of a part or do anything else. It's just that they mention that one of the Nile is a guy named Wet Bub.
Did you see the post I did in Star Wars in-game pictures like a few weeks ago of Jar Jar as like a evil carnivore? He looks so different.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It's yeah.
I'm gonna check that out now. I must have missed it.
It was pretty good.
The best Star Wars picture, of course, is just Kylo Ren shouting more.
Yeah, we all know this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually-
God, that
My favorite Star Wars gifs are the ones where like somebody throws something and then like whatever it is that they're throwing in the gif, you replace it with a lightsaber, and then immediately after that you just have Dooku go running after it. Or not Dooku, Grievous. You have Grievous go running after it. Because I like the idea of Grievous as like this cyber puppy that is just like fucking nuts for fetching lightsabers. Just
This picture that you posted of Jabba the Hutt, then Jabba the Hutt in a stocking, is still as traumatizing as when you first posted it.
Agreed.
just one long stocking.
Just one, and there's heel at the end. Wow.
All right. Well, it looks like everybody's here. We talked over, but so that the people that are watching know. Mike playing Ringer won't be joining us tonight because he got a new job and appreciates, having money to buy things like food and stuff. I don't understand it. I don't get it, but
Well, let's be fair. He doesn't spend his money on food. He
Yeah,
spends it all on Gundams.
He just buys Gundams.
That's accurate. That's
Gundam's gotta eat.
look,
No, they don't. No.
look, man. He's a growing boy and he needs his 3 square Gundams a day.
Jesus, what is that? Like $150, $200? That's a lot of money.
Why do you
That's-
think he
that's
needed
why-
the job?
That's why he's working so much.
Yeah, all right. Fair. Fair.
It's a bad habit. Most of those are Zaku. They're just made to die.
That's why he's
It's
really a
true.
shelter for them. He's keeping them safe and alive.
He's
Zaku Sanctuary.
Mike Saku.
he's
Saku's
he's running an orphanage for abandoned Gundams.
Oh, I need that. I need that. I need that image for $1 a day. I can support my Gundam habit. That's really
These
what that
can't
is about.
survive the wild, so if you send your $1 a day, we'll make sure that they can find their forever home,
Have
which is
boot,
here with me.
which is here with me. Have boot jets will travel.
They'll be properly detailed and dusted and well looked after.
I will
to
build
make sure
them
they're
to the best
polished.
of my ability, which is it's pretty good, I guess.
All professionalism just drops off. I guess it's all right.
I'm not like
No,
one of those
it's-
YouTube guys, but I do okay.
Scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give myself a 6.
I saw one where somebody took the they took one of those kits and they were like cutting into it and carving it and painting it and doing all this stuff, and then they took the leg as it was supposed to be built straight out of the box, and then the one that they made, and the one that they made looked amazing, and the one that was straight out of the box also looked cool, but by comparison just looked like shit.
That's upsetting.
It was comparing like one of those like we'll take the goth boot and add on all of the chains and the skulls and the spikes and all the needless accoutrements, and we'll compare that to like a ballet slipper. Just just a flat, and it was like, man, the detail on it was incredible, and I thought it was pretty neat. Okay, so but with Mike gone, it looks like we have everybody here. So we could do a quick recap and then get back into some things. The recap is going to be really, really quick. The vast majority of last week's game was a single fight. It was Delian went up and started talking to an ogre. And was like, hey man, I'm gonna give you some money, and then why don't you take the day off? And the ogre's like, money? And so he gave him the money, and the ogre's like, I'm working right now, I can't.
Can't
then-
move.
Can't move until my shift, but you're a good halfling. And then he like patted Delian, who is not a halfling, but is a gnome. So instead, Delian like motioned everybody to come over and just told the ogre like, all right, well, like, just don't come after us. And he dropped a sphere of darkness, and everybody sort of went downstairs, and the ogre was like, I'll give you to the count of 5, 4, 3. And Delian's like, oh shit, I gotta go. And so then everybody went downstairs and started fighting some of the members of Dhaask as they came downstairs. So there was a couple ogres, there were some hobgoblins, and right now they are fighting Kringauer, who is also an ogre, and his pet Dredigan. While they're doing that, Dandarin found a piece of moving stonework, like a good dwarf, and
Good dwarf.
went back there and found that Yelphus, the guy that they're here to rescue, has some sort of weird mark on his body and has apparently just been flayed over and over, like flayed and healed up and flayed and healed up for like the last week. Because there's pieces of that mark just kind of hanging off the wall. He ran in and managed to not be taken out of the fight by that mark. And while that was happening, he kept hitting the doctor that was taking it off. And the doctor was like, hey, man, like, I don't know what's going on, man. Why are you hitting me? Eventually the doctor blamed him for it because he brought the light and into the room, and the light interacts with Yelphus's aberrant mark, and basically anybody that can see it will have a lot of pain. Dandrin went and started breaking Yelphus's chains and covered him up. And then as he's escorting Yelphus out, Kringauer takes out Ringer, and so now there's a fight still going on between two. Where we'll go here. There's a fight still going on between two ogres.
Still, it's been a week.
God, get it together, guys. There's a fight still going on between two ogres. There's Kringauer right here, right.
Hovering 50 feet in the air.
Why can't I do the thing? There we go. Right there. I don't have my clicky ability. Does anybody else have it?
That's weird.
Are you holding X?
Yes. Well, this is weird because everybody has it but me. Anyway, there's Kringauer over here. There's another ogre right here, and there's his Dradagan Krukan over here. Otherwise, everybody is a member of the party, I believe. Oh no, the doctor's over there. So, one thing I'm gonna do real quick, because I have had this open for a while, and I think it's freaking out a little bit. So sorry, I have to close this out and then reopen it. So you guys are probably gonna need to refresh your page. Give me 1 second here.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Look, guys, we're out of the fight. It's over. Take a
Oh no,
breath
I've
of
lost my
fresh air.
connection.
Do it.
Panic!
Out of existence.
Don't worry, guys. If you just panic, it'll all be fine.
God damn.
This is fine. I'll just leave.
My daily motto.
What's the dwarf's name in Kingmaker? Hargrim?
Yeah,
Sweet
Harem.
release.
It is harem.
Yeah.
That dude, like, if he lost connection,
All right.
the mortal coil.
I'm back in, and you guys can all refresh.
Yep.
Yeah, it actually reestablished the connection for without doing anything. So
Interesting.
yeah.
So we are still in the fight, and I have an irritated Kringauer, who is going to probably attempt to kill Dandrin, because Dandrin had the audacity to move next to me. So yeah, we're starting at the top of the round because we ended at the bottom of the round, so we'll go from the top of the round again. And Dandrin, Kringauer comes at you with 2 big axes.
Yep.
Does a 20 hit you? And I know
Nope,
that
'cause
you
he's a
do have
giant.
your because he's a giant. And does a 20 hit you?
Nope, 'cause he's a giant.
All right. You let me know if that changes. Oh, fuck! I rolled the wrong number. It's actually 1d20 plus 8, not 1d20 plus 7. Does a 21 hit
He
you?
missed me by several.
Okay.
Because it's base 19, and then with artful dodge makes it 20, and then he's a giant. So it's,
Yeah, but I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying. Does a 21 hit you though?
no, because he's a giant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he's a giant. Yeah, got that.
It's like shouting at a wall. It doesn't. Nothing happens.
Hey, John Eric, just make sure of your other roll too, because you got to make sure.
Yeah.
both
What about the
ways are-
second 21? Is that gonna? Okay.
Yeah, does that hit too?
But let me double check. No, he's still a giant now.
Okay.
As a swift action, he drinks a potion that makes him not a giant. Does that hit you?
Oh shit!
There was a playable race in Forgotten Realms in 3.5 that were medium-sized giants
Yep.
because they started out as like huge size, and over the course of thousands of years they had just shrunken down, but they were still giants, and it was really dumb.
That's really, really dumb.
Corley is going to move up,
Really good though.
and that is pretty much what she's doing, is to get to right there, because Forsidna actually has armor on, so Forsidna is going to move up and take a swing at Krukan, and she will hit.
I just need her to aid another when somebody comes to hit me. That's all I need her to do. Just give me some armor class. I don't think they've done that at all. I'm questioning whether they're actually good bodyguards at this point.
Wow. Krukan is going to bite the big person who just got in front of him. I will type the right thing instead of the wrong thing. Way to go, Krukan. Everybody loves you.
Doing work.
Sharut, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay, so an acrobatics check only covers the first 5 feet of movement, correct?
No, a withdraw only covers the first 5 feet. An acrobatics check, I believe, covers 20, but I will check to make sure.
May only cover half of your move speed. That would still be 10 feet, which should be enough.
Oh, half my move speed is actually 15, which would be more than
Yeah,
enough.
when
Yeah,
moving
small
when
crash
moving
rate.
using acrobatics, you move at half your speed.
Okay.
You can move at your full speed if you want to increase the DC by 10.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
You sure do?
I'm gonna make an acrobatics check to not incur an attack of opportunity.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, sure.
Although, have we talked about how dope attacks of opportunity are?
Here's the thing about that roll, and go with me here.
It's not very good.
Does a 22 hit you?
Yeah, 22 hits me.
All right. Well, he
It's been nice knowing you.
is.
Yeah, he's probably
He is exhausted. That does give him a penalty to his.
He is exhausted. One sec here.
He's got to roll real low, and I don't think John Eric has it in him.
Wow. Wow.
max damage.
So his strength is currently dropped to 15. So he is only adding 3 to his damage. So does 9.
Sharut is down and dying. It's unfortunate.
All right. We'll just do
Something seems fucky there.
where
He'd been hit before and was trying to run away to heal.
No, that's.
what seems wrong there?
What's his strength?
His
He's
strength.
an ogre with base strength 21 minus 6, 15.
Yeah.
That makes-
But
Yes.
he's also using 2 hands with his weapon.
I
Yeah.
see. Time and a half. Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
No, it's not cool. He's down.
Yeah, that's my turn.
Cool for the ogre, though. You
He
know?
was down mechanically correctly. And that's the important part.
Lumio,
Yeah.
you are so that you know also in this dude's reach.
Yeah.
But Sharut just got clobbered trying to do a cartwheel. Looks like Forsidna has run up and cut at the big lizard, and the slightly bigger ogre is continually swinging at Dandarin and not making much headway.
Well, I'm gonna 5-foot step back.
Mhm.
This is hold on. Okay. That one.
I don't have you as actually being in the game, so you probably need to refresh.
Oh yeah, that might have been what happened.
I only have
It said it
Delian,
reconnected.
Delian,
but,
Sharut, and Zarak in the game, so Dandarin and Lumia will need to refresh.
refreshing.
Refreshing.
Oh, look at all these bug reports.
Yeah.
All right. No, I grabbed the. Can you just move him up? There we go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm seeing that the game is paused. I don't think that's intentional.
There you go.
Thank you.
It was paused.
And I'm gonna roll. So I'm gonna roll on both of the ogres. First roll will be on the top guy. Second roll on the bottom guy.
Okay. And this is your electric blast thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the electric blast. And I'm going to add a spell point to make it 3d6 when I roll that.
Okay.
To do a little bit of extra damage.
Sounds good.
All right. So first one is on Kilgour.
Kringauer?
That's the dude. Second one on the other dude.
Those will both hit.
Yay!
Hey.
Very nice.
I'm gonna go with the boss man, and hopefully that'll help us all. So 3d6. Yeah, gotta love it.
All right.
Dude, you telling me? I
Mhm.
know that feeling explicitly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At that point, did you have anything else that you wanted to do? Or that you can do? I don't know if you have anything you can do as a swift action, but
I'm maintaining both of my well, I've got concentration on the one thing, so I'm not doing anything else.
cool. Can you roll me a D100, please?
Oh, I can.
See if your wild magic triggers. No.
It doesn't.
Sounds good. Dandarin, it's your turn.
I'm gonna
It's
swing
like you were
both of his
trained
mad
for
attacks.
this.
This is it. This is all the things. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to swing at both of his axes.
Interesting.
Can you Can you sunder both of his axes?
No, but I have the ability to choose 2 targets and roll 2 dice. And
Oh
choose
shit!
one.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
And then
Oh,
not the second one, but the first one. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. I don't think either one hits.
No, neither one of those is gonna hit. No.
Are you sure?
Well,
There's 2 digits in the first one.
yeah, there's 2 digits on the first one, but they're both ones. So
Oh no, I rolled 3 ones. The worst possibility.
yeah.
Kendrick goes like, Jim, come on. This is the best it's gonna get.
It's
Yeah.
all downhill from here. You critically failed. It's all downhill from here.
I only roll out over a 10, 7, or 30% of the time. You have like a +6 to BAB. Yeah.
Sir, Dandaron has reached rock bottom. What did he do then? He started to dig.
As dwarfs do.
All he said was, "Where there's a will, there's a way," and cracked the bedrock.
Okay, so in case, we are going to go to the ogre, who is going to move up to Lumio.
He's not legally allowed to do that. I have a restraining order.
Roll it. No,
Too bad he's a thug.
okay,
Oh, damn.
so he's gonna take a swing at you, Lumio.
Cool.
So, does a 7 hit you?
By God, I've been missed.
Would
I'm
it
gonna
hit
write this
you?
down in my journal.
Would it hit you for 1 Scooby snack?
Oh
We
my
went
goodness.
from offering positions in the new Goblin Empire to a Scooby Snack.
Hey man, know your priorities. Scooby snacks are spherical.
All right.
That's one step away from tubular, and you know what that means to me.
So,
I too.
okay. Well, he will still use his berserker thing, and he will miss with the brutal strike. So yeah. Next is Delian. Delian, what would you like to do?
So
You have-
I would. Oh, oops.
You
I think
have so many options. You could
I
shoot an
know.
ogre. There's a dwarf. Go with what your heart feels.
What can I get for the Warforged?
I'll give you about 350.
Ah, that's stiff price. So I think I was here, if I remember right. I've been playing too much Kingmaker and tried to move the camera with WASD and failed.
you're correct. That's where you were.
That's where you were, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, that's as far as I'm aware. I would love to use my last hook and pulley to try to dirty maneuver on this fool.
You're gonna poke him in the eyes from across the room?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and roll it.
That's what I wish to do very much so.
It's just funny because I think that this is gonna work.
I'm really hoping, man. Does a 24 hit you?
He's blind for 3 rounds.
Amazing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
His CMD is lowered so low because of that stupid poison.
Why, whatever is the problem with that poison?
So
John
yeah,
Aaron?
you take your little roadside trash grabber extendo-matic thing, and you twist a little dial, aim it at him, pull the trigger, and it just zooms over Lumio's head, and then 3 stooges this dude right in his 2 eyes.
Hell yeah, right in his gob. Love it.
Truly, you are the king of artificers. And so that's a standard action. Did you have something else you wanted to do?
I don't think I have too much of a swift action or anything other
Okay.
than am I in range of Kringauer right now?
Melee range?
Yeah.
Not at the moment. He's using lighter weapons, smaller weapons. So he doesn't have weapon reach. He just has his natural reach, and you're outside of that.
Okay, that's what I was just trying to make sure, because
Okay.
if he decides this guy's too hard, I don't want to be butchered.
I'll just save this dwarf that's poking at me for last. I want to kill that goblin or
Yeah.
that halfling.
Any other small race. Yeah, so that'll be me.
Okay. I will let these bodies float back down to the ground. because it said that the hobgoblin corpses were still 23 feet in the air.
I hit it. It's in range now.
as it enters my threatened area.
Attack of opportunity, the descending. Anyways.
It is known that hobgoblin corpses raise 10 feet into the air upon death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she doesn't crit the thing,
Too bad.
and she will do 3 damage. And so yeah, Bowen will kind of come down the steps after Forsidna and step in front of you and raise her shield. And then she goes for the big overhand chop, and Krukan kind of twists away from that. And so at the last second, she turns the big overhand chop into a lunge forward and just kind of nails it right in the throat. And so it releases this, like, as it is very surprised by this. And then this guy will vanish. And man, like, the escape key makes this pop out combat tracker disappear, and I hate it because the only way to click away from someone is to click someone else or click escape, but escape is making my combat tracker disappear. I don't like it.
That sucks. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So and then after a thing happens that none of you can see, Zaract, it's your turn.
Zaract is gonna fire at both ogres.
Okay.
They're in melee. They're both in melee, so those are -4 each because she does not have precise shot.
Yeah, are you taking the -4 instead of me adding it? Okay.
The first one is to Kringauer, keeping in mind that blind, he probably doesn't get much of a dex bonus, if that matters.
Kringauer's not the one that's blind.
You know, the other ogre?
Yeah, Deline said that he was blinding this one.
Gotcha.
The
Okay.
one that was going for Lumio. Okay. And the second attack on the non-Kringauer ogre. So the one on the non-Kringauer ogre will hit. The one on Kringauer will also hit. So yeah, sorry, I had to do the math there for the fatigue or the exhausted.
I'll put it on Kringauer. That's fine.
Okay, roll your damage.
Already did. It's a 4. It gets
Yeah.
done automatically done with those.
That should be 60.
You should add. Hold on. You should add
Plus
2 to
2.
that.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
6. Sorry
Nice.
about that.
All right, and then top of the round after Zaract is going to be Kringauer. So Dendron, Kringauer, like with his scarred face, because this dude, he's essentially kind of like missing a good chunk of his cheek, so it's just twisted in this like snarling grin the whole time. And he looks down at you and he goes, "To the death, then, is it, little dwarf? Kringauer accepts. To your death." And he will. He's going to use an ability that he has called the high-low combination. Dun, dun, dun. The high-low combination is when I make an attack dual wielding, I can, instead of hitting with both, I can attempt to forego my offhand attack to make a trip attempt instead. So he's trying to knock you down. But this hinges on a very important thing, which is I have to hit with the first one. Does a 26 hit?
Yeah, that'll hit.
Yeah.
When you're rolling 18s on die.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Yeah. And I'll take max damage, too. And then he is going to attempt the trip on you with the second attack. So that is an 18 versus your CMD. You get all of the standard dwarven stuff, both
because
against being knocked down and against the other stuff.
Because I am a dwarf, no, that does not knock me down.
Okay. So he basically does a big chop, and then he tries to batter you in the side of the leg, and Dandern just kind of like barely moves.
Ow. Really hurt.
And there's this pause from him, and he goes, "What? What?"
I'm going to break your axes for that.
You were already trying to break his axis.
Yeah, but now I'm going to.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Fair. Yeah.
Corley will move forward, but not get into the fracas at the moment. Forsidna will do the choppies. And and we'll hit for 4. And after that is going to be Krukan, who's going to take a bite and then step away. Yeah, that'll do it. Krukan sort of lunges around for Sidna's sword as she's coming in for another stab, and he kind of takes it in like his front left shoulder, but in exchange, his super long neck is able to bite her very, very roughly in the forearm. And after that is going to be Sir Lumio.
Oh boy!
You're a knight now. There's a lot of
have
added
to
responsibility with that.
I have to make a save.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Sharut, go ahead and make a save. It's a con check, I believe, right?
Yes, it is a con check. Nope.
It's a DC 10.
Oh, it is DC
Yeah,
10?
it's DC 10.
Okay.
It's a DC 10
So-
con save, so you don't bleed anymore. You just
Yeah.
yeah. So he hit you with his big ass morning star, and you went thwomp. But you apparently the spikes were about the same size as you, so you formed your body around them and didn't take that much spike damage from. I have nothing.
I get what you're trying to say. Doesn't quite make sense, but I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Lumio,
Yeah.
it is your turn. You have a blind ogre to the south of you who just crushed Sharut and attempted to crush you, and then you have some other things going on.
I'm gonna basically do the exact same thing I did before, where I step back and then attack both ogres.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I control my own fate now, so I do the step back myself. Feels pretty good. First one for the named guy, for the non-named guy.
Those will both hit.
Would you like to roll to confirm on the named guy?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
That will not confirm on him.
Did he? Does he have the metal armor thing?
Is that the one that you're using?
That's always the one that I'm using because it's there's no reason not to.
Okay, so that gives you a 12. A 12 still will not confirm against him.
Beauty. Okay. Well,
So-
I will do the amount of damage.
So who are you hitting?
Boss man.
Okay.
Yeah. Did more damage with less dice. Yay!
Can you roll me a D100, please?
I can.
Okay.
Come on, give us that wild magic.
We'll start enacting shit that makes the chance higher, man.
All right.
Gotta spin the wheel of wild magic.
The circus of value. Dandarin, it's your turn.
All right, we're gonna do that thing I did last time, except this time we're going to.
Ah.
First axe. Second axe.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay, so this is against his CMD, correct?
Yes.
Okay, the second one will hit.
Then I will hit him with the second one.
Okay, and it is 22. There's a question that I have that I'm hoping that you know about sundering in regards to sundering a magical weapon when you're not using one.
You can totally make the attempt. It just makes them. They're just hardier.
Okay, because it's just that they get extra hit points, correct?
Yeah, they're just tougher to break. That's all.
Okay, so I believe that's probably still enough. You got 22 damage coming in. Yeah, 22 damage is enough. So his offhand axe is nice and broked. Do you get anything from that when you sunder an item like that?
No. I mean, I can just fix it, but I just gave him a penalty.
No, I just didn't know if like
Any-
you sunder something and then you get a bonus somehow or something.
If I
Personal
destroy the item, then yes, I do damage to him.
Okay, so no, you have just given it the broken condition.
Yeah.
Cool. So sounds
Ogres
good.
have natural weapons by any chance? Asking for a friend.
Well, he did just kick the shit out of Ringer. But Ringer was already unconscious when he did, so who even knows, really? I'll tell you who probably knows. Big Blind Bob over here. Big Blind Bob, he's gonna move in. And he's just just gonna sort of walk forward and then swing at basically where Lumio kind of where he thinks he is. So
Oh my god.
Oh,
What the fuck? I'll be right back.
Oh, geez.
wow. Okay, so Lumio,
Yeah.
on a 1 to 50, he misses before I even roll. Yeah, like the big morning star just kind of comes down like over here, and then he lifts it up again and it comes down over here, and then he does he does a big sweep, but the big sweep is super telegraphed, and you just kind of very very barely duck as he just kind of goes like yeah. But yeah, you do not get hit because he is blind. Next is Delian, but Travis is handling whatever that alarm was. So we will
Probably a fire alarm.
jump instead to Bowing, who is going to take a step forward and attempt to cut a Dradagon. Wow.
Jesus.
Uh,
Quick question: is that +2 from her, or is that +2 from Lumio's thing?
that +2 is just from them. I forgot that Lumio's thing was there.
Okay.
So, yeah, she steps forward, and as Krukan kind of rears back so that he can snap at her, she slams his jaws off her shield and then comes through and, like, straight through the collarbone and then back out. Pulls out the sword and does the whole, like, flick to do the prep it again for another strike / clean. And Krukan goes down in a heap and starts and next is going to be this guy. Let's see, standard action and then move is going to be all right. Zoract.
Zoract will do the same thing. Both ogres.
Okay, first shot on Kringauer. That will not hit. And that will hit the blind one though.
Then yes, that's his. He can take it.
Okay. For 8.
Mm.
Okay. There's this roar, and he kind of like brings down his morning star in the area where that came from, and you just see him like break a big chunk off of this table. And after that is going to be top of the round is Kringauer. Eric, you want to make your attack of opportunity here?
I sure would. Let's go ahead and you know what? Because I think this applies to attacks of opportunity as well. Let's aim for his axe and him.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the attack roll? Those will both miss.
Ah, shucks.
All right. He is going to stomp over here and swing at Bowing. Useless human nothing. Kringauer ends you.
He sure fucking does, doesn't he?
And roll the 1 on damage.
So
Remember
Bowing
that his
takes
offhand is a -2 to hit and damage.
even with the -2. But thank you. So Bowing will take 15, which will knock her down. That will actually kill her. She goes down hard. And then, as an added insult, he will just stomp her into paste while Forsidna screams. So you guys just see him come through, and with the 2 big axes straight through the collarbones, drags her to the ground, and then stomp. And
Oof.
he then shouts, he goes, "Gulbabi, go get her. These ones are difficult." And that's his turn. Zoract, Corley looks at you and says, "We have to get out of here. Go." And she will basically be holding her action here. Forsidna, on the other hand, is going to try to kill the ogre. And will miss.
She's in my aura. Oh, she's only attacking one thing.
Yeah.
Never mind.
They've all only had one thing in range. When they took out Krukan, then he stepped up. So,
Yeah.
but you guys can all hear Forsidna just, "You fucking bastard! I will kill you!" And she's just swinging at it, and he's managing to move his axes in such a way that she's not getting anywhere close. And when she does, she's just smacking into the plates on him. Sharut, you are still unconscious. And Lumio.
Mm-hmm.
It is your turn. You saw what just happened over there. You have a big blind ogre swinging at you right in front of you. What would you like to do?
I'm going to step to here
Okay.
and attack both ogres again.
Sounds good.
I'm going to be using the electric thing. I'm saying it up front. And I'm going to empower it with an extra spell point, which is my last one. So there's the first, which will miss him, and the second.
That will hit this guy.
Nice. Then I will do 3d6.
All right.
Cool.
And can you roll me a 1d100? All right. So, you shoot him with the lightning, and you see it kind of crackle over his body. But he's still standing. He's just, and he says, "I will find you, skinny warforged, and I will break you." And Dandarin.
Charge.
Okay.
And I swing at him and the armor.
Him in the
Question.
armor, or him in the weapon?
Him
Because
in
he
the
still has.
armor.
Okay.
Because his armor is providing him too much bonus. He's still being missed.
He's flanking, right?
Yes, he is flanking now.
Make sure you double your flanking bonus.
Oh, that's right.
Wait, double his flanking bonus?
Yes, because we have both totems up.
Lumio's wild magic.
Yeah, from way earlier.
Oh,
I gave it.
that one was only for you and only for one round.
It was two people.
Oh.
It was Dandarin.
I didn't know it was only for one round.
If
But,
it was
yeah.
only for one round, then that's fine.
Mhm.
Still, King is good. And against his armor. Yeah, I think we're going to go with the attack against him.
The attack against him will hit. It will hit very, very well, actually. Wait, that was the wrong guy. He will, you go up and you try to slam at his armor, and he kind of knocks the hammer aside with one axe, and so you come back through with the big uppercut and just kind of clock him in the jaw, and he kneels real roughly for a second. That hobgoblin that was under one of his feet is just toasted by this.
Yeah.
And he kind of like looks at you and he goes, "You are strong, dwarf, but you are dead all the same." And
I'll cave in his skull.
yeah, and then he dies. Okay. The other guy got 2 targets to go here. I don't really know where it came from. Well, I kind of do because it hit me. So let's see what he can do. He resoundingly misses you, Lumio. He just comes through and
Yay!
and does nothing.
He paced this corpse real good.
Yeah.
Mm.
That guy's just real hosed.
Oh
And-
no, my soft, fleshy body. Don't hit me again.
And after it is Delian. Travis, you back yet? Because if so, you're still muted.
He is not. He's still taking care of the fire alarm.
Okay. With Travis still taking care of fire alarm, I will say that Delian is just going to like and move over here. And quick check. Dope. Sharut.
Yeah.
What's the most obvious alchemical item that you have on you? The most obvious one.
The most obvious, the only one that I still have on me is my salve. Like there's a salve in a bolt vial.
Okay, yeah. You don't have that anymore.
Okay, that's fine by me.
And Zeract.
Oh. If I wanted to grab Boween and pull her out.
Yeah.
Is it possible to like move down and then grab her and then move back up, or
Yeah, that would be fine.
then grabbing Boween, Zeract moves her 30 feet.
Okay. And as you do, you see Corley basically doing the same thing with Forsidna. Not so much dragging her out like she's a corpse, but just sort of pulling on her tabard, saying, we have to go. And because she was holding until your turn, she 9. Yeah, for Sidna will give a couple of good whacks to Kringauer's corpse just to make sure, and then she will sort of sheath her sword, grab bowing stuff, and just stomp / walk up the steps. Lumio,
Mm-hmm.
it's all up to you.
Shit. Gonna do that step away. I know that I'm still in range, according to what was discussed last week.
Yeah, you're still in range, but he's blind until his next turn.
Okay.
He will no longer be blind in his next turn.
All right. Attack. Does that hit him?
Is it a touch attack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll hit him.
Hey.
You see the lightning just arc all over his body, and he just keeps coming.
Hey.
He's got so much temp HP.
All right, and Dandarin, it's your turn.
I charged the man. I attacked him and his armor.
All right, go ahead and roll it. Are you gonna choose to hit him or his armor?
I'll just hit him directly.
Okay. You will charge him and do another, like, the old dwarven standard of hit him in the side of the knee as hard as you can, and then when they go down, because you just denied them of, important structural foundations, you clock him in the face, and he just dies with the words "skinny warforged" on his mouth. He does not attribute his death to you, which will haunt you for the rest of your days.
Andrew will remember this.
So, at this point, the combat is over, so I will end the combat.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Save some allies.
I'm going to go grab the guy we came here to get.
Okay. Yeah, he's just kind of very shakily standing there. And when you start moving closer to him, you see him start bundling the blanket to his side a little harder. And he says, "Be careful. Try not to look at it."
Yeah. Hold on. Here's a coat. I'll pull out a winter coat and throw it on him.
Do you have a winter coat on your fucking list of equipment?
I sure do. I have 2. For me and one for Gruddick. He gets Gruddick's.
So he puts on this coat that is chest-wise built for a man 3 times his size, and arm-wise built for a boy half his age.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he does it like he does it, and he puts it on, and then like he'll start buttoning the coat, and he's just standing there like just poo bearing it to the world in a dwarven made winter coat.
Make sure that I collect the winter blanket as I escort him out.
Okay.
And I will snatch up. I'll shout back to Delian and Lumio to grab everything they can and grab everyone they can. So like, Delian, grab Sharut. And oh god, why have I completely spaced on your name, Lumio? That's your name. Lumio, grab Ringer. To go. Now I will scoop the 2 magical axes on the way out as well.
Okay. Sounds good. So,
Can
Lumio
we get
and
something?
After leaving, it's like, Ericul's gonna kill us for fucking this up. And I'm just saying that in case someone like outside, because I don't know the situation outside. So,
Yeah.
and he's shouting at somebody.
yeah.
So,
Can I grab a token from they said bring his head? That's kind of heavy to move, especially when I'm carrying Ringer. But like, do I see like a medallion or something like that? Some item that would be unique to him?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll just go, well, if anybody's gonna do something nasty, might as well be me, and I'll cut off the part of his face that gives him his cheek scar.
okay.
Oh,
So you're just like using this. Yeah, I mean, so like the kukri is a Gurkha knife, and that's totally something I can imagine a Gurkha doing. Like,
Yeah.
they're the scariest motherfuckers on a
Head
battlefield.
was-
So there you go.
face.
There's like an old British military adage that if someone tells you that he's not afraid, he's either lying or he's a Gurkha. So yeah, you hack part of his face off with the big knife. It's real gross. It's grisly.
Yeah.
Dandarin, you
Not
pick
pleased.
up Ringer, and
Well, I was
Oh,
telling
I'll take
Lumio to
Ringer.
oh,
grab-
Lumio,
and I
Lumio,
was
you're
telling
taking
Dillian
Ringer.
to grab Chirrut.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lumio, you're taking Ringer. Dandarin, you're taking Yelphus and the pair of axes, and Delian, you're grabbing Chirrut.
Yeah, except could I potentially go grab the doctor's I don't know what's actually in there, but I'm assuming he might have a book.
Are you going to go look?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go grab a book. Just I need to make sure we know why these guys are here.
Do you
Snatch and
have
grab.
Do you have craft alchemy, or do you have knowledge arcana?
I think I have knowledge arcana.
Go ahead and give me a knowledge arcana roll.
Let me just scroll to the skills. I certainly do. I'm gonna spend. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a hero point.
Okay.
That's a +8, right?
Yes, that is +8.
Because I spent it before.
Yes. Well, geez. Wow. Here's the thing. Jeez. Wow.
Gosh.
I mean, wow.
So, when you go in there and you look around, I'm gonna go ahead and delete the totem so that we can get the red off there.
Sure.
When you go in there and you look around, oh, real quick, can you give me a will save?
There it is.
Yeah. Because the light's still in there, right? Well, I wouldn't know. Delian would not know. He just knows that he's
So
breathing
basically,
some
it's that there's
stuff.
still light because Dandarin and the door is open. So it's less,
Nice.
but it's still there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, you're fine. When you're looking at
Wow.
when you're looking at this table over here, it looks like it's been mostly ransacked. When you come to this one, you see that it's also been mostly ransacked, but there's a couple of pieces of parchment that have sort of like fallen on the floor and then done that thing that papers do where they fall and then they kind of like curve up. So it looks like they sort of slid to the back a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And you're able to grab those, and you also see a number of strips of leather over here on the wall that are just making you queasy. You're not suffering ill effects from them, but you can tell that if you had more light, if you looked more closely, anything like that, you might be.
Okay, so I'd probably snag them and
Yeah.
put them.
And sorry, I had you roll knowledge arcana. So I will give you the result of your knowledge arcana roll. So you know what they were trying to do is peel off his dragon mark. It's very clear that they were trying to peel off his aberrant dragon mark and keep the magic of it.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. That's not a thing that works. But he's not in this room, and you feel sick. You don't feel nearly as sick as you did when, like, it literally felt like your stomach was trying to, like, pass through your liver, but there's definitely something there.
Okay. So I'd probably grab them and wrap them in a blanket, making sure I'm not looking at them, because obviously I've kind of discovered that's correlated.
Yeah. Sounds good. So you will be able to grab the 5 on the wall that he left there, along with a couple sheets of paper. And then are you doing anything else down here while everybody else is moving out?
No, it would probably just be like I did my best, so I'll grab Chirrut and head out.
Okay. So you go ahead, you grab Chirrut, and you all head out.
Jeez Louise.
Zarakt, can you give me a perception check?
Absolutely. Just a second.
This is basically happening as you are kind of walking up the steps. But you
Probably not.
you
very
don't
distracting.
really get to see it as like you don't see what caused it, but a sizable shadow just sort of flew over you and then left.
Fair.
So, what would you all like to do?
Probably get the hell out of Dodge.
We've got to go somewhere to get some healing.
Where would you like to go for that?
That is a great question. I don't know the city. I think our gobbo of knowledge is out.
There's a potion on his belt.
Yeah, but we don't know that. So Because I've been around the city a little bit too, and I know a little bit about it. Do I know of a place that would be? I'm looking for a place where we're most likely to be able to get assistance with the minimal amount of fuss.
Um, the places that are one of the primary places that's open to anyone that can pay is going to be the various House Tarasco houses of healing. Because they are staunchly neutral. They kind of have to be. So if you can get to one of the House Tarasco hospitals and you pay the coin for it, they'll heal you up.
Where's the closest one, to my knowledge?
So if we, you guys are, sort of like right here-ish in this area.
Mhm.
You know that there is one in the city center, sort of towards the direct center. There's also one in this district over here. There's not necessarily one that's like right next to where you are, but you're in between two of them.
Right.
Do you know what that district is, Dendrit?
What is that district? If only I knew about this particular locale.
You got a knowledge local?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it's just learning the name of a district.
Yeah. Basically what you know is that that one is sort of snidely referred to as the tradesman's district.
Hey, people! We'll go to the tradesman district.
Yeah,
Sure. Yep.
sounds good to me.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are lugging you got one guy who can kind of walk, but is definitely Pooh Bearing it. You got two other people that are being carried, and then you have a corpse that is also being carried. As you're walking away from this.
Who's the corpse?
Bowing died.
Oh,
Bowing decided that she was going to kill Kringauer's pet, and Kringauer took exception to that.
As-
that's too bad.
Walking, I will, Sidna, Coralie, I'm sorry for your loss. I know what you're going through right now.
Yeah, Forsidna definitely seems more shaken up about it than Coralie is. Coralie is like Forsidna's taking it really hard. Coralie, no, Forsidna's the oldest.
Oh.
Coralie is just saying, Forsidna's crying and just barely able to really do much other than carry Bowing. Coralie is the one that is like sort of keeping watch as they're going, and just saying, "Come on, we have to get away from here." And when you say that, Coralie looks at you and she goes, "I thank you, but this is no time. They could be coming back."
I know. We have to move.
"How are your friends?"
If we're fast, they'll live.
Good.
At least we got what we came for in Hillside Idelian.
It would be too bad to lose the goblin and the changeling. They seem like admirable allies.
You've been good friends,
Okay. So actually no roll for it. It just with your sort of like rudimentary knowledge of the area, it takes you a while to find it. But there's not any sort of trouble on the way. You know where it is. You know it's in the tradesman's district. It's just going to take you a while to get there. And when you get there, you can see why this place is kind of cordoned off. It stinks. It's like not a great part of the city. There's apparently some kind of like sewer access here, and there's a lot of tanneries here. So they're
Anna's and Milla's and all
like
the other
this is
places no one wants to go willingly.
Yeah, this is the place where all the gross jobs happen. And so you can kind of smell it when you get a couple more blocks away, just because the wind is on your side today. But as soon as you're really in the thick of it, this place is just an assault on the senses. It is ugly. It feels dirty. Every breath kind of like has that faint hint of like air shouldn't be this greasy. But you are eventually able to make your way to a small little 2-story stone, metal, and wood building that has the the griffin on the side, along with the sort of like twinned wings and a blood drop in the middle that would symbolize that this isn't just a House Drasco house. This is a House Drasco hospital.
Perfect.
And you can all, so that you guys know, you all see that, and I will show the chat. Yay!
Because the image is.
Wow, is it broken? God damn it!
Yeah.
Doing that. Yeah.
Wikipedia, or not Wikipedia, but the Eberron wiki does that. But that's the symbol of House Drasco.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And this one just has a bloody tear on it.
Yeah, it's so like there's the house symbol, and then below that there's basically something that almost looks like somebody crossing wings the way you would cross arms, and it has a blood drop in the middle, and that's kind of symbolizing like this is a clinic, this is a hospital. So and yeah, so when you guys get in there, there's a couple of people kind of in the waiting room, but they're not they don't seem to be in the same sort of condition as you are. These are people that are like, you know, holding hands that are wrapped with towels, and you see some blood on the towel. They have like a small limp, or they're just sitting in the corner and coughing. You guys are lugging in 4 people. The nurse on staff will jump up and move over to the group and say, and wow, what's going on here then?
runaway
Trade
cart.
Oh, that's you want to give me a bluff check there, Lumio?
Can I help him? I'll add to his story.
I mean, if you add to the story, you can help him. For social roles, you actually have to do the social thing.
Yeah,
Like-
that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to
Sometimes
head it off
something
and
that-
then do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I blurted something out, I'm also going to attempt to assist.
It's looking real bad. There might be more. There might not. It's hard to say. We tried to grab as many helpless people as we could.
Someone may have been trading with the wagon.
Go ahead and roll it there, Deleted. Okay. So
I thought Lumio was rolling it, and Delian and I were trying to assist.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
yeah, I was telling him to roll the assist,
Oh, okay.
and she looks at you and she goes, "Huh? Well, yeah, that can happen. I've seen this before."
Man, what a shitty district. What a shitty district.
And
Wanna live here.
she starts looking over Sharut, and you see her. She takes out a sun rod, and she breaks off the tip, and it's like flashing this little light, and she starts like opening his eyes, and like, you know, kind of flashing the light in front of him, and then as she's talking, she's going, "Looks to be pretty concussed. I think this wagon, the horse on it had some gnarly hooves. We'll have to do more on the table." And then as she's looking at Sharut, she points over to Boween's corpse and goes, "Nothing I can do about that one. She's real dead." And she moves on to Ringer and starts doing the same thing, and just kind of like pulling on the face and checking him out. She goes, "Oh, he was hit by a blade.
A lot of
I'd have
weapons
fallen
in
off
this
the
cart.
wagon. I'd have fallen off the cart.
This might have been an assassination attempt. There's a reason we don't have a
Oh,
lot of
no.
good Samaritans in this town."
Yeah,
And
faulty wagons.
she takes a step towards Yelphus, and he just holds a hand up and he says, I'll be fine. I just need to sit down a bit." And she raises her hands and she goes, "Well, as you wish." "Well, yeah, I can get him healed up. So what are we? If these are
I'll
your
pay for their services.
Good. So since you're paying for services, what we're looking at is, well, Doc's currently in surgery, so we can't give you anything big, but I can probably give you a bit of doctoring and 1 use of a least mark. Up to you where what goes. Total's
Between
gonna
the two of
come,
them, I'll point to Sharut and Ringer. Which one of them is worse?
and she goes, "Well, the goblin seems to be pretty hardy. You're human over here. He's well, he got hit with a big knife or a blade or something, and then he bled for a while, and now he's barely holding it together. So him.
Yeah.
That
uh,
one.
That one.
We'll-
Whichever one of those is the most effective. That one.
We'll let you heal that one.
Oh, yes. Sorry, the price. I cut you off. Bless you, Dillian. Bless you, Lumio.
I don't have lungs.
I learned
Someone
more
sneezed.
about
I-
Warforged.
Someone sneezed. I want to know who it was, and I want him here now.
Bring him to me.
He needs healing, by golly.
Dwarvish healing. Why are you sharpening your hammer? Also, why are you sharpening your hammer?
So basically, she's telling you that total it's gonna be about 20 gold, for the use of the mark, and then for the use of the doctor, or the use of the like meds, basically.
I will make the appropriate arrangements.
Okay.
I pay her the money.
Ringer will get actually that's gonna be 5, but it's still not enough to bring him up. And then Sharut, sorry. and then Ringer will get healed for like an additional 12 points of damage, and he comes back up online. Yeah, there's and he goes, "Oh, we won. I thought I was dead.
It came at a cost.
You kind of were, almost.
What happened to Sharut?"
That wagon. I will look at him dead in the eyes and as stern face as I can. That wagon sure did a number on you, friend.
It sure did, right? Wow.
Hmm.
He's never going to
Just
understand
nodding
that.
my head, looking at Delian.
Hold on. I want to see what he's got. I will.
Oh, hey. That's not
Okay.
bad.
And he goes, "Yeah, it was a real big one. Covered in knives and,
Sharp hooves.
sharp hooves and anger."
Lumia looks away, completely surprised, but doesn't show it, and says, "Apparently, there's a lot of them in this district. We should leave soon."
And
It's dangerous. They have knife wagons here.
and then Ringer, who's like actually like talked to Shrewd a little bit, goes, "Oh shit, Shrewd's down too. Did we feed him his potions?"
Oh, he has those, doesn't he?
Oh, for a guy who loves a lot of potions, I guess we should have checked.
Could have checked.
It's not like we had time to do so.
Just give him everything in a vial. It'll probably be fine.
Oh, the poison!
You just feed Sharut a flashbang, and you're like, this probably works.
Shrewd does have. He's
YOLO.
got 2 vials of young cave scorpion venom.
Oh man.
Thus ends the new Goblin Empire.
Well, who wants to play Potion or Venom? Because I do.
I love this game.
Who's
Hey,
going
you know
to
what?
feed Sharut a potion?
You know, the great thing about Russian roulette with someone else is it's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other option here, she lets you know. She goes, he got hit real hard. Our field nurses aren't able to do anything to him. He's gonna need some
Do you
time.
sell potions here?
Yeah, we have potions.
Got any I could peruse for sale?
Sure. What are you looking for?
Healing for him.
She kind of like looks at him, and then she looks at you, and she goes, "Look, man, I don't know why you'd want to save a goblin, but especially not around here. But
He owes me money.
that makes sense. In that case, maybe don't buy potions. If he
Oh,
owes you
he'll pay
money,
for
well, I'm saying if he owes you money, you should be buying a use of a mark, not a potion."
Fine. Have any more marks for sale, as it were?
Yeah, we can probably get you a couple lessers in here. See what that'll do. Give me just a minute here, and
Appreciate it.
she will go kind of like go through the door and come back out, followed by a very very young looking halfling boy. So you're a dwarf, so she's not that short on you. This kid is half your size. And she says, Tinnis here has a use of his lesser still for the day. So if you'd like, we can see if he can tap into that, and if the mark can heal your friend up.
Well, I'd sure appreciate it.
And she says the 1 second.
Oh, everyone just cut out for me.
Oh, I hear you.
Are you back?
Oh, I saw things lighting up and I wasn't hearing anything. I was like, oh no, what did I miss?
No, you're good.
And she kind of like pushes him over towards it, and she the kid starts like putting his hand on Sharut's chest, and you see that he has this mark that just coils like around his elbow and up into his bicep and his shoulder, where it past his bicep, it kind of like disappears under his clothing. But his hand starts glowing as she's talking to you, and she says, for Tinnis's mark, it's going to be a little bit more. So that one's 60 gold, but it's twice as strong as the potions that we have on hand. That would cost 50.
All right, and I paid them.
Sure, you heal 16.
You
Where
see
is
Dandrin
Sharut?
Just grabs the little
crawling
kid.
over you.
Where am I?
The boy starts.
I say to Shrewd, it's okay. We picked you up after that wagon hit you. And then in Goblin, this is a lie that they must believe.
Yes, wagon. Sharut want to rest. Everybody else fine?
We lost Baween.
Lost?
The rest are still with us.
Sharut kind of perks up, or he gets up off the table. Lost, and he kind of he starts wandering towards where he thinks she might be.
Yeah, they've basically taken you back into sort of the operating theater. You're not actually under surgery, but you're not in the front room, sort of. And so when you leave and you come back out, they have essentially body bagged Bowing, and they just have her on a gurney, and you see Forsidna sitting next to her, with one hand on the body bag's foot, just red faced, and clearly she's been crying. And Corley is, well, if Zorak's there, Corley's there, but if Zorak's not there, then Corley's not.
Zorak's totally there.
Yeah,
She's...
yeah. So Corley is basically standing there and just kind of looking around. Doesn't really seem to have hit her quite as much.
He walks up and looks at the gurney, and he can pretty much just tell. Sharut apologize. Make bad decision. Could not help.
It's not your man. Fights get really messy, and that's not
Yes.
good.
Cart accidents get really messy.
No, they've called this out before. This was a stupid choice.
Was.
Well,
I'm
looking
glad
back
you've
won't
tried
help
to-
us now.
I'm not in the mood to start this again, Delian. It would be useful if you kept snide remarks to yourself for the time being.
It wasn't snide, and I think we should get out of here.
Sharut agree with Dillian. Best move.
And as you guys start to leave, Corley kind of looks down to Forsidna and says, "Are you coming?" And Forsidna says, "No, I spoke with the halfling. They said that they would send word to the chapter house, and the chapter house could come to pick her up. I am staying with her until that happens."
Would you prefer to be
Dillian.
alone? Like some company.
And she just shrugs. She doesn't. I'm gonna put it. You guys aren't friends, so going no, I want you, my employers, to stay here is a
Yeah.
weird sentiment.
Yeah.
So she doesn't say yeah, I want you to stay. She just shrugs.
Yeah.
And Corley says, "Well, I have to go and guard the client." And
I think that your time would be best served here. And while our contract is fairly explicit, I think that this is a reasonable addendum until we're able to discuss it further.
there are
think
no
that-
addendums to the contract once it's made. And she seems like she's intent on coming with you. And as you all start to leave, you hear Forsidna go, "Did we do the right thing? Was this a mistake, Coralie? She was too young." And you see Coralie kind of shrug, and she says, "This is how it happens for us. This is how it would have happened to her somewhere down the line anyway. It just happened sooner." And Forsidna says, "Why are you being like this?" And Coralie says, "I don't know what you mean, but you know that I'm speaking the truth. I will see you back at the hotel."
Dillian will run up to Forsidna and put 50 silver. I'm sorry this is all I have, but I hope this will help cover costs. I'll be back later with a bit more.
"I will steal the town for you. I'm so sorry."
Well, I did not mean for this to happen. And then I'll leave.
So, as you guys, are you splitting back up? Are you all going back to the hotel? What are you doing?
We need to find
think-
the black feathers and get this resolved.
Okay.
That's exactly what I wanted.
So, all right then. As a group, you guys go and try to track Gloa back down. Or are you just going to the bar that you met him at?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. So, you go to White Talon's Grip, and you, it's pretty early in the morning for a bar, yet still a number of people in the bar. And
Is there? Sorry to interrupt. Is there a way along the way that we can try and make ourselves less conspicuous moving in the group as we are?
less conspicuous how?
Make ourselves look like tradespeople, or take routes that are less likely to be observed, that sort of thing.
You can try to take routes that are less likely to be observed. You could, so you know that there's, for example, you guys are here-ish, and you know that Gloa's place is over here-ish. So you could always decide that you are going to do one of like these kind of things, and take like a wide route instead, or something like that.
That would make the most sense.
Zarak is going to point out that we've already caused enough trouble with this for ourselves. If we bring that trouble to the Blackfeather's door, then all we've done is double what we have. So the smart thing to do here is to cover our steps, to and the best analogy she has is try to approach from downwind and come at it from an unexpected angle, so that if there is pursuit, that it's not easy to find us. This is not a skill she has.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just hearing that explanation, Sharut would pull out his map and start planning.
Yeah. You know that. Actually, we'll go ahead and give me a knowledge local roll.
+2 with the map, yeah?
Yep. Not that it's necessarily a masterwork map, so it won't boost you with that everywhere, but for here, sure. Yeah, so you know that Dhaask does tend to operate in the more southerly parts of the city, because the more southerly parts of the city are generally the more rundown or poorer parts. So Dhaask and Herrick group kind of have this sort of area down here. They all work in this. Taking the route around to the north would probably be a good idea. You are all kind of covered in blood and that sort of stuff, so like stopping to grab a couple of new cloaks or something and throwing those on would probably be helpful. But as far as like full-on disguises or something like that, like I think the only one of you that's really skilled at disguise is Ringer, and Ringer is skilled at disguise for different reasons. So even he can't really like assist most of you guys.
What we could do is break up into smaller groups. So if they're like, there were 2 halflings and a dwarf, and it's like, okay, well then we'll have, one of the halflings and the dwarf go, and then the shifter and the warforged, and we'll just kind of like space out walking down the street, so that it's not that clear that there's an association.
Okay. Yeah. You guys can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, taking what'd you say?
I'll guide one team.
Okay, you guide one team. Sharut with a map. I'm pretty sure you can guide the other.
Yep.
And then, Delian, if you want to go with Yelphus or something like that, like he knows his way around the city.
Yeah.
There is a point where he stops and says, like, hold on, I need to go steal some pants. And
Yeah.
he'll just kind of like awkwardly disappear into a store and come back out with some pants and says, like, we should be quick.
I'm good at that.
But eventually you all make it to Whitetown Script, which is sort of the street name for the bar that you met Gloa at, and you are able to see that even though it's pretty early in the morning, even given your detour to the Manticore's tail and to the hospital, still a number of people in the bar. Mostly Kinku, but not entirely Kinku. And there's a Kinku with a pair of swords and a baldric of knives across his chest, who kind of holds up a hand, not to the rest of you, but just to Delian. And he says, "No gnomes are allowed within."
Oh, yeah. I was sent by Gloa to do a task, and I'm here to check in with said task.
I will check on this, and you will wait.
Yeah, of course.
What is your name?
Oh, my name's Delian.
Be here when I get back, Delian.
Yep.
And he gives you a as he goes inside and comes out a moment later and says, "Gloa will see you upstairs. Be on your
All right.
best behavior."
I know the rules.
And are the rest of you going up there too?
Yeah.
I don't see a need to necessarily, but I'd like to.
Zerax is going.
I mean, it's fine if you want to. Like, they're allowing it.
All right, then I'll go. Yeah.
Okay, so you go up and you see the big man himself, and by the big man I mean he stands at an amazing 3'10".
That's astounding.
Yeah. And he's seated at his desk, and you guys get let in. There's probably too many of you to make this office comfortable, especially because since there's so many of you, 3 of the blade marks will sort of push themselves into, and
Makes sense.
he will look at you, Delian, and say, "You've been busy.
Quite.
We've heard a bit of what happened at the Manticore's tail, but if you want to recount more of it, so that we know."
Yeah. So tried to surreptitiously get in there. We did a perimeter search, found that he was in the basement. This is Yelphus. This is my friend.
And he nods to him and he goes, "Charmed. My name is Gloa." And Yelphus just nods.
And yeah, so basically he was getting, from what I saw, was tortured down there. And they were removing strips of his skin. Don't look at these, basically, because looking at them makes you sick. And so I'll take them out of the bag, and I couldn't really ascertain.
He'll hold up a hand, and he says, "I will not deal in grisly trophies."
Okay, well, then I'll put these back. Here's the notes that I could get. It looked like somebody had kind of tore that place apart, so I grabbed what I could. And I'll bring over all the sheets that I had picked up.
And he'll scan over them, and you see, he's pretty quick at it. He basically takes the parchment that you gave him, and he takes a fresh sheet of paper, and he dips the pointed dowel in the ink, and he starts going over it kind of line by line and flipping the page. And you don't have a lot. You only have 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Umra Urzog, was this the doctor who was performing your procedure, Yelphus?" And Yelphus will grimace for a second and say, "I didn't get a name." And Gloa hands him back the papers, and he goes, "Well, you're in luck. One of these is a receipt for a cloak, and he's signed it. If you want one, you have a target, though that is not today's matters of business."
No.
Delian, well, Yelphus, you were caught while you were attempting to spy upon Dhaask. Delian bargained your location in exchange for what you had seen. I imagine that this is the facility where they process, or merely sort, though I hope it's process, the dragon's blood that they bring into town. Did you see how it's made? And Yelphus he shakes his head, and then he nods his head, and then he shakes his head again, and then he goes, it's complicated. I saw part of the process, but I didn't understand it. I can describe it to you. If you have some paper, I can write it. And he, at this point, Gloa will look to everyone who's not Delian and, basically the other Kinku, and says, please, wait outside and your payment will be given to you shortly. This is not something I need additional people hearing.
Yeah, of course. We did end up taking out Kringauer. I know you don't deal with Grizzly trophies, but I do have his part of his, cheek to show you, in case you needed proof of said, hit.
The dwarf behind you is carrying Kringauer's axes. Why would I need a cheek?
Had you told me you had his axes, I wouldn't have done this horrible thing.
I said I'm picking up the axes. Grab Sharut. What part of that went over your head?
Well, now I just feel... Oh, great. Well,
listen, I don't ask why you do what you do. I just accept it.
Well, that's upsetting to me. All right, I'll wait outside.
You don't have to. He's not asking for you to. He's asking for everybody who's not you and Yelphus.
Is there a trash can somewhere? Is there something I can use to dispose of this?
Hand it to one of your friends, and we'll have one of the serving boys come by and grab it.
Here, Dandrin.
And he just hands you this,
You want a little cheek? That's good eating.
Oh, that's fresh ogre cheek right there. A little bit of fresh ogre cheek on rice, some sauerkraut, honey mustard. Oh, God, that's a sandwich.
Forget about it.
Give you a heart attack right now.
So good. So good.
Actually, ogre cheek makes a good substitution for pig jowl when you're making a good carbonara. So, no, just...
You frighten me every day.
Okay, apparently we know why the dwarves and the giants have an enmity.
Yeah, apparently.
It's not because the giants ran the world. It's because
they never knew it was the other way around.
Yeah, it's not because the giants ran the world. It's because the giants were delicious and the dwarves were hungry.
You all fancy a nibble?
So yeah, Travis, you get to be there while
Cool.
Yelphus basically describes what he saw. And it's kind of an arcane process. There was a lot going on. Yelphus is not a extremely skilled alchemist, so he can't say precisely what was going on. But he describes the things that he saw, and he describes things really, really odd. So it's not just, and then they poured salt in. They poured salt in the color of a midnight dream. It sang as it pattered upon the glass. There was a sizzling that smelled of sulfur, and like listening to him talk is sort of a weird assault on your senses.
Yeah,
because he part of his thing is that he has extreme synesthesia. Yeah, he's describing all of this, and you could tell that Glow is writing it down, but there's definitely a point where Glow is irritated.
I imagine so.
But he writes it all down. He writes down every single word of it, and eventually he will kind of look up and wave a hand, and one of the swordsmen will open the door and motion to the lot of you who are waiting outside, and you can come back in. And when you come in, Gloa goes, "Thank you for being so patient. It took a bit longer than I thought it would, but we got there in the end. Yelphus has a strange way of describing things, but we'll see what we can make of it. Now, I made a deal with young Delian that if that particular ogre saw his end during the rescue, the lot of you would be paid. Are we missing any who should partake of this payment?"
Yes.
I will not have the Blackfeathers go into debt on my account.
There is still
There's
one others.
one in the hospital.
Well, hopefully this amount of coin will enable her to seek whatever treatment she would need. And he opens the drawer and he counts everyone in the room, and then you see him setting out basically a black opal for each person.
Zeract raises her hand and finger and says, "We had an alternative arrangement."
Ah, we did indeed. You wanted the equivalent amount of advice for assisting in running an organization.
Something like that, yes.
Do you have specific questions, or would you like to write them when they come to you?
Keeping an open channel of communication for correspondence likely be most beneficial. But perhaps while these folks gather their goods, I could ask a few.
You've helped the murder, and as such, I will judge the price of such information in your favor. You'll receive 6 questions. And if we know the answer, and we have not sworn ourselves to not tell it, you will know the answer as well. Ask as you wish.
To as much detail as you can, feeling free to obfuscate with where it contradicts your interests. As a minority in a city that may not be kind to yours, if we were to look to avoid criminal enterprise, what would be the best approach and methods for building a foothold? Something stable, something that will be successful, at least have the opportunity to do so.
If you want a foothold, trade. If you want a stranglehold, a monopoly on trade. Pick anything that someone needs and make sure that you and yours are the best way to get it. And if possible, make sure that you are the only way. For us, information comes naturally. Information is what we do. While we do not have a monopoly on it, it is hard to with his kind around, he says, kind of like motioning to Delian. We worked hard enough that we are known for it. People know that they can trust us in this regard. So I would tell you, find what you are skilled at. More to the point, find what you excel at. Yes. And when you know what you can do better than anyone else, charge for it. Be so good, they can't ignore you.
That's quite a lot to think on. Not perspectives that I think I would have come to naturally. Thank you. I'll save the rest for another time.
And he nods there, and he at that he like takes out a piece of paper and he basically writes the contract of like, you still have 5 questions, signs it, and then slides it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And,
if it's a signature thing, Zeract will sign.
Yeah, and he lets you know you will likely have to use an intermediary courier in order to get it to us. I don't know where you're from, but I know it's not this town. I suspect it's Seer, or New Seer at least.
Zeract will nod at that.
That would mean you are using the Sending House, and that would mean you are using House Civis. We do not do business with House Civis. If you need my assistance, and he writes down a name. The name is Omthu. He says, there is a half-orc in town who you can send a message to. He is someone who works for us. Send him your message, and he will bring it to us. And then it will come to me. So everybody else gets a black opal. That black opal can be cashed in at any Kundarak facility, bank in town or abroad for 300 Calavar. So it is appropriately and properly marked.
Nice.
It works like currency.
The noted.
And for the friend who's in the hospital, he gives you an extra one, Delian.
I'll give it to who it's Corley, right? Who's left?
Yeah, you'll
I'll
give it to Corley.
Immediately pass that. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, she'll take it and she'll say, "Thank you. I will make sure she gets this."
Please. And I hope, well, nothing I can say can help. I'm sorry.
And she shrugs and shakes her head a bit, and she says, when you are part of House Denith, and you choose the life of guarding people who are in danger, this is part of the job.
Yes.
We are all
Yes,
going
it
to
is.
die at some point in some conflict that is not our own. Bowing just died a bit before the rest of us.
Well, thank you for being there. I appreciate it. We probably would not have made it without your help.
Well, so you guys head out, or did you have other stuff to do?
That's all I had.
Okay,
That's all I got with Glow. Yeah.
cool. So I'm gonna assume at this point you guys kind of like break apart, or go as a team back to the silence.
I will be heading back to my cousin's artificery.
Okay, so Dandarin's gonna go to the artificery. Lumia, are you going with Dandarin, or are you going with everyone else?
He's just muted.
Oh, I didn't see that he was muted. Never mind. So I will assume that Lumio goes with Dandarin and everybody else goes back to the hotel, and we'll basically we can figure out what you do with the rest of the day after a quick little like 15 minutes or so.
Sounds like a good plan.
Cool. So we'll come back at 9:20.
Sounds good to me.
All right. 1 second. All right, buddy. Back in 15.
Cool.
All right. And now we're back.
Hooray.
So I guess at this point it's me going, hey, so what do you guys want to do? You still got about half the day left.
So,
But some of you are pretty hurt. So what would you like to do?
well, I think the best course of action is to get out of here sooner rather than later, but we promised Sharut we would do something first.
Obviously, we're saying this outside.
Yeah, no, we're not
Yeah.
just saying this in front of the Blackfeathers.
Just
Yeah.
lips flapping in the silence because you can't actually say anything. Fine.
Just
Look, with as torn up as we are, we need at least a good night's rest before we move on to any other thing.
I
And
think if we spend one more night here, we're going to not wake up.
well, if we head down into unknown catacombs and tunnels without as wounded as we are, we may not come out of them. So, weighing those two possibilities, which would you prefer?
If we go into the catacombs, there's a chance. Sharut, you were mentioning there would be other entrances to the catacombs, yes?
Sharut have yet find other entrance.
But if we were searching from the catacombs, we could find it, right?
Potentially.
There's other entrances that surely means, of course, there are other exits. My
Sharut,
proposal is that I send a shipment with the wagon back without us. We take what we need with us, and we go through the catacombs, and we seek a different exit. If we don't emerge and someone sees us go in, they may assume that we simply died down in those catacombs.
This is predicating a lot on there being a magic existing secondary entrance.
It's not unusual. The Iron Root Mountains had a number of old ruins in them, and while many of them were of the ancient dwarven races, it is undeniable that some of them were of the Goblin Empire. They had a myriad of entrances and exits. It's only sensible, really. You don't want to build a single entrance death trap when people were living and working there.
Sharut think in any case, best rest for now, if safety concern.
At a
Find
minimum,
other lodging.
That's my thought. We just go sleep somewhere else.
there are another number of other inns that we've looked at, and at a minimum, we need a night's rest before we can. Also, you need to arrange individuals to follow the wagon, because the contract that I've specified with the remaining Denith women does not specify that they will guard my things, but rather that they will guard my person. They won't go.
Oh,
Yeah, it was you and the cargo has been put on a ship, so now it's just you.
Yep.
But you only have about 2 days left in your contract with them anyway, so
That's good.
well, I'm going to be busy the rest of today then. Let's find a place, and then I'm going to have to set up my shop.
All right. Knowledge local, I suppose. At that point.
And I'll roll one as well, thinking of places we could go that we haven't been that are not likely to be insect.
Oh, you might just beat me on that one.
and you're just looking for somewhere to stay?
Out of out of the districts that we know have heavy, I'm tacking this on at the end, I shouldn't be, but probably out of the districts that we know that have a heavy influence with Herrick and Drosk,
Okay. So
that would be
basically,
fairly
I
low
s-
key.
basically something north of the rail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there's the silence. There was that other one that you went to, the Oaken Cudgel, or that you knew about, the Oaken Cudgel. And looking at the map, you see one that's on there too. That's sort of in this district, like the sort of Northern Temple district. In like this, it's doing. Damn it! Why does this do this? Where it doesn't let me point anymore? I hate this. Yeah, there's one in this area called the Rye Smile.
The Rye Smile.
Fairly
subtle.
right?
What was that?
That's fairly close to where Sharut wants to go, isn't it?
Well, the one sec. I have to do it. I have to be able to point, and
It's okay.
this is the only way that I have to point in this whole thing. All right, I have come back in. So everybody, if you need to refresh or whatever, do your thing. From what Sharut knows, the catacombs for this temple, what they're using as catacombs are for the most part already built, and they're just kind of finding them and like putting sarcophagi and you know the like memorial cubes that you keep ashes and stuff like that in. So this is his best at the moment, his best idea of where to go. As far as whether or not there's anything else, he doesn't know. He hasn't found out that information.
I guess we would go to the Rye Smile just because it is in the area, and that would be probably the best place to start scouting for alternative entrances outside of the grounds proper.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So you all make your way to the Rice Mile.
Someone else can pay for it.
Sharut's got it.
Yeah, it's a fairly done up and looks to be pretty, not necessarily extravagant, but definitely more luxurious than the Simple Silence or the other places that you've been. You know, it's things like who puts velvet on a column? These guys do, and it looks nice.
We're in this
I
part of
guess, kinda.
Sirax is thoroughly confused. She has no idea why the fuck he would do that.
Yeah, and
We
it's
can't build them entirely out of velvet. There's no structural support. Duh. This guy.
and there's a the place looks to, for the most part, be run by elves. You see that there are a pair of attendants at the front desk of this hotel, which is a 3-story affair, and they're well dressed. They're probably more well dressed than anyone in this room. Yeah, than anyone in this room has ever been. Just I was like stopping to look at who we had, and I was like, yeah, they're more dressed than anybody in this room has ever been. And Sharut, when you as you're walking up, there's like the little sort of step ladder type of thing for you to climb up so that you can sort of see over the counter. And the elf says, "Hello and good day, sir. Welcome to the Rice Mile."
Sharut bids greeting. Require rooms for self and friends.
And how many rooms would
gestures
that
to-
be?
Dandern, are you staying?
I probably should tonight.
Do remember that Delian and I are sharing a room. There's an easy way out. We've talked about it.
Rooms fit 2 apiece? He asks.
Of course, we have rooms with double beds. What good establishment doesn't?
Let's see, that's 2, 4, 6 plus the guards.
Sharut, you and I can share a room.
4 rooms.
Of course, sir. And you see him sort of absently move a couple of beads on an abacus that you can see once you're standing up on the ladder. But he does it so quickly that you know that like he already knows what it costs. He's basically just showing it to you, and he says, "That will be 128 gold, sir."
Okay. That's a lot of gold. Yeah, Sharut will pay it.
And yeah, once you count it out and you give it to him, he will grab. You see him grab a small basket and a quartet of keys, and he starts leading you all to your rooms. And as he's walking, he goes, "We have multiple amenities that you may avail yourselves of while you're here, if you would like. In addition to a pool and a restaurant where you can eat here. You can also have food brought up to your room. If you are the kind who would prefer to get their morning calisthenics in with a bit of work on one of the training dummies, you will find those out in the courtyard, along with an archery butt at 20 and 30 meters. Though we do ask that you are extremely careful that you use only blunted bolts or blunted arrows, and that you make sure not to aim for any of the glassware. Glassware that is broken will, of course, be placed on your tab." And he's leading you through and showing you this is an ostentatious hotel compared to what you've had before. For Dandarin, this is it's like upper middle. It's like upper middle. It's not ridiculous, but this is, everywhere that you guys have been staying is like a Motel 6, and now you're at a DoubleTree. It's the next step up.
It's an actual hotel as opposed to the motel shanties.
Yeah. And he will lead you all to your rooms. And Sharut, he gives you a handful of keys, and he also gives you the basket. And he goes, "Or if you'd prefer, I can carry this in for you."
He's fine. Sharut got. He's like he's a little out of it right now.
Since Sarut seems out of it, I'll make sure to tip the man like the complimentary 5 gold.
Sounds
I'm
good.
sure he expects.
Why give extra gold? We pay for room.
No, you don't understand places like this.
Yeah, it's only polite to give extra.
It's a common courtesy. He would feel slighted if we didn't. And with this, we'll get. How do I put it? It ensures prompt service.
Sharut confused. RDP
Well, you know that
service.
TIPS is an acronym to ensure proper service. You know the bribes we had to give? It's like that, but more of a customary thing.
Yeah, it's not actually like it's to make sure you don't have. Anyways, yeah, it's just nice.
Strange custom. Sharut passes out the keys and heads into his room.
Okay. Yeah, they're nice rooms with double beds. It's luxurious. It's probably overly soft unless he is used to very, very soft bedding. But they have weird things inside, like, get this, running water.
Wow.
Proper civilization.
Yeah, there's actual running water with like taps, and you can touch the stone with the little fire symbol on it, and the water will get warmer, and then you can touch the stone with the little snowflake symbol on it, and the water will get colder. The colder one seems to work faster, works better, but still works. But yeah, you were in Sharut, probably the nicest place you have ever been in. It's very off-putting.
Yeah, no. Sharut doesn't like it here.
So
he's not comfortable.
yeah. He goes to climb on the bed, and like it's one of those, it's like a cartoon where like somebody climbs on the super soft bed and just disappears. Like they just sink in and sink in and sink in, and it's just like, help me.
I feel like after he sinks for a minute, he like shakes his head, gets out of the bed, and starts setting up his bedroll on the floor.
Make a climb check to get out of the bed.
You could also acrobatics if you have that.
I know, except last time it got him almost dead, so.
The bed takes an attack of opportunity.
Yeah.
So is that position in the Goblin Empire open? Because I take the attack of opportunity and shoot.
Make a will save or fall asleep. That kind of thing. So,
All right. So you guys rest up.
Can I, before I go to bed, I would
Mhm.
like to make a salve and use it on myself.
Yeah. Can you also do another thing for me, real quick?
I can.
You, as a doctor who is a doctor, can take care of some people to help them with the healing whatnots.
Yes, I can.
I probably should get some first aid too. Now that I think about
Ringer is
Same.
his healing actually went pretty okay. Yours isn't great. I don't think Lumio actually took damage. But Delian and Dandarin and you were all like pretty hurt. So aside from just the salve, do you want to heal people?
I mean, I could just use the salves to heal people up,
It's up to you.
and it'll have essentially the same effect. So I'll do that, and I think I'm at the point where I succeed on creating the salves. Let me check. Yeah, I succeed. I auto succeed on creating the salves because I have a kit.
Sounds good.
So I'll just roll some heal stuffs.
Okay.
While he's crafting the salves, I'd
Yeah.
also like to repair the axe that I broke.
Yes. What you have are a pair of +1 medium axes. Medium battle axes. Sorry, to specify.
8.
Slash roll 1d8.
While that's going on, Delian will probably be working on making some more hook employees from trash garbage.
That's for
and
me.
he'll probably actually go over to Dandarin and be like,
Hey, so I saw you paid a bunch of money to get these people healed up for you guys helping me. So I want to, at some point, when I get this,
and he holds up his little like pearl or whatever.
when I get this all like put into actual feasible like coin, I want to give you a share because you didn't have to do that, and it was nice that you did.
There's no bother.
Well,
Just the right
coin is
thing to
coin.
do.
Well, the right thing to do for me is to make sure you get some recompense for that.
In the middle of the
It's fine.
conversation, Sharut walks up and starts applying lotions to Dillian's open wound. Stop
So-
moving.
The right thing to do is to.
I'm thinking this one's going to be the hammer, and this one's mine, and he's going to put one of the axes down. I don't know what I'm going to make this one into. I don't want to just use it for myself again, although I could. No.
Talking yourself out, you end up. Oh, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Who
Makes
am
it-
I kidding?
Two-winded hammer.
Playing a super selfish blacksmith. I broke it. It's mine.
By rights of combat, it is mine. But you break everything. It's all mine.
This is how I acquire my wealth.
So
Sharut.
yeah, it just takes you like an hour to remove broken condition, right?
It doesn't even take that. Literally, to remove, if it's not destroyed, John Eric, this is sick. I can do it in combat. That's how fast I
Stupid.
can.
So dumb.
If it's completely destroyed, I can repair any object, including magical objects, within 8 hours if I have all the pieces from completely destroyed.
Did you hear
If it's
actually how
broken-
excited he got?
That's
If it's just broken, I can repair it at a rate of 2 hit points per class level around.
so like okay. So there's a super there's a feat that nobody will ever take, and it's called like equipment trick. It's useless for the most part. But my favorite part about it is that one of the pieces of equipment that you could pick is a scabbard, and so you can do the God, what's the blind samurai thing? Ichi.
Something like that.
You
Oh yeah.
Zatoichi. You can do the Zatoichi thing where you disarm somebody of their sword and you put their sword in your scabbard.
Hilarious. That's
so
stupid.
So like
That's very cool.
yeah, it's really neat, but it requires you to have equipment trick, the empty scabbard, and disarm. And it was just like it's such a specified build to do nothing of value but look cool, which I'm all for.
Which is like 30 empty scabbards.
But it's hilarious to me that Dandarin can like hit a dude's sword, break it, follow up with like a disarm, because I know there's a way to do that in spheres. There has to be. Follow up with a
Oh, yeah, there
disarm,
is.
disarm them, put it in his scabbard, and then pull out a fixed sword.
It's Dandarin's dwarven duct tape. It's
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah. And then to change them, to physically change the item, because I brought my wagon here because we're staying here.
yeah.
So it takes 1 hour per effective bonus. So they're both +1s. So in
Jesus.
2 hours, I'll have 2 completely different items. They're
That's
+1s.
That's wild.
Okay, so you're
And then I
turning
will
you're turning one into a
normal-
hammer, right? A warhammer.
I'm turning one into a warhammer for me. So I'm replacing mine.
Gotta
My
do something a little
warhammer.
nice for yourself.
If someone And then if someone else, like no one else uses, like I can make it into, since it's mostly made of metal, I can turn it into basically any other weapon or a mostly metal. Like I could potentially turn it into a shield as well,
No.
but only like a heavy steel shield or a light steel shield. I cannot make it into a tower shield, but I could also make it into a sword or a great axe or a spear, or a halberd or a mace. But I don't know if anyone else.
Well,
Like, who else uses melee weapons?
I do.
yeah,
I
it has
used
to be the same kind of like general composition too. So like if
Yeah,
this
that's the
is
thing.
if this is a wooden handle and a metal head, you can't turn it into like, a bow.
No,
Like-
no, I couldn't turn it into a bow. I could turn like a spear into a bow
Yeah.
because the haft would be long enough. Or conversely, I could turn a bow into like a quarterstaff. Like, yes, I can't turn a bow into a sword.
Yeah, but what
does
kind
not
of life is that bow gonna live?
Unless the bow is made out of like ironwood and I turned it into an ironwood sword. And a druid uses it. Like that could potentially work with if John Eric gave that the okay.
Yeah, I'm reading the thing and it says weapons can only be turned into other weapons.
Yes, and they have to share most of the same.
Yeah. You can't turn like,
yes, no.
a
I couldn't
one-handed
turn-
sai into like a greatsword.
No.
Yeah.
But I could turn a sai into a dagger or a kukri.
Yeah. I think it would make sense, like if you wanted to make a kukri for Dillian, you could probably do that with the other one.
And I will turn one into a warhammer for me and one into a kukri for Delian.
Okay, so
I won't
Dillian,
tell him I'm
you will
doing it.
get a +1 kukri. So it works.
wanna
I
run
have
this
no
one
idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. But even though you don't know, I'm gonna change your shit anyway.
All right.
Dylan, you should heal 10 points of damage.
Uh,
How are you feeling?
I'm at that. I feel great. After the stinging and all the pain, I'm amazing.
Falls down the stairs immediately.
Shadut cannot fix sting. Sign of healing.
Yeah, I figured it would pass.
Dandarin, come here.
Don't bother me while I'm working. Just here.
Let me tell you, it's absolutely painless.
Just starts putting the frickin' ointment in his wounds.
How is
Dylan.
it burning and freezing at the same time?
I have no idea, but it's
Goblin
so
secret.
mind-boggling.
It's like some kind of icy hot mixture.
Boy, you're dead.
It's consuming me.
How are you feeling?
With 9 extra hit points, I'm feeling better, but still down some. If I had to put a number on it, with another 7, let's see. Yeah, yes, I'm good.
You're fine. Shadut sleep now.
Oh, that's much better. But that's just just a weird sensation. Just
Let
it does the trick,
uncomfortable.
but very unusual, I would say.
Let it do work. Do not touch.
And he
I
sees
won't-
like
I
your
won't.
hands start going towards the wound, and he like slaps it.
No touch.
All right, I guess I won't touch it.
Immediately touches it.
Dan,
touch
could you touch this?
Yeah.
Goes over to Lumio. Hey, poke this for me.
Lumio's got poking fingers.
Okay, so Dandarin makes some weapons. You guys go to bed, I assume.
Sounds it.
All right.
Yeah. Well, the only
Dillian.
addendum.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I do continue to do my thing. So I do what we'd already talked about. So I spend basically the rest of my day because you said we had over half the day left.
The
right? Technically.
the hotel will request that you do the quieter part of your weird jalopy smithing.
And I will.
They
Okay.
say, "Sir, this is a proper establishment. We cannot have somebody loudly working out of a wagon in our courtyard."
Very good then. I'll just do all the regular maintenance stuff then, like the polishing and.
You can also like move the wagon somewhere and do it, and then come back. But they just don't want you to
walk
do
away.
it there.
Yeah, no, I can do that. I can just go around the bend.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Oh.
Cool. So you get your half day of thing, and you tinker with a bunch of items, and then the next morning, does anybody have anything of note to do before we get started with the day?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
All
And
right.
actually, stuff the night before. It doesn't need to be a scene, but Zarak did want to check out the embassy, and barring doing that, which seems like maybe the smarter thing, just write a letter with questions, so we can figure out what that looks like later.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a letter to drop off with some questions or like to the steward at the embassy will let you know that Tanaya Irritadian has already left.
That's fine.
He will. Oh, she left not long after you and your friends did.
Well, I didn't think our entrance into the city would be quite that damaging, but well, I mean, you've seen who I keep company with.
I think it's more about the news that you brought than the company that you keep. Though, if you think it's about the company that you keep, you should keep better company.
This is fine. You said the steward at the inn is saying this?
No, the steward at the embassy.
Oh shit! Okay,
So
I was
yeah.
like, how does he know? What the fuck?
But
Oh, no.
But yeah, he will. You are able to give him like a letter with some questions for her, or
Yeah.
She's the like main ambassador. There's some staff there, but it's not a lot. They don't. Seer doesn't have enough people left to fully staff an embassy anymore.
Yeah.
So you're unlikely to see the like huge amounts that you would get. And the other thing is that this isn't the capital. Like Star Alaska is it's a very important town because it's the center of the rail line, but it's not the capital. The embassy at Rowett definitely has a bigger staff.
Yeah. So at this point, rather than leaving it for the ambassador directly, they'll just be sort of general questions with the intent that like anybody who's skilled can answer them, and we'll hash those out later because it doesn't have to be right now.
Okay.
She'll also, on the way back, make a stop by a House Civis location because she has a message waiting for her regarding certain books that she had asked about previously. That message was going to be forwarded on to Star Lasker if it came.
Yeah.
Before she got back.
It hasn't come quite yet.
Okay. Then in that case, she's got something else to do.
Okay. Cool. So, all right. So next day in the morning, because Sharut, you said you had something that you wanted to do. What are you doing?
Let's make a bomb.
Make a bomb, Sharut.
I don't make a bomb.
Nothing like venturing into your priceless ruins of your people with a backpack full of explosives. You fucking psychopath.
Gotta make sure you got that covered.
Yeah.
Still don't make a bomb. We're gonna try this for an hour, so if I don't do this within the next like a couple rolls. Okay, there we go. I succeeded, bomb. And then I also make 2 salves.
Okay. Yeah. And cool.
And then Zarak's also got to do that voodoo.
And you're binding. You told me you were going to bind Cave Mother, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. You are not underground or within a cave, but you are a female.
That's true.
And I think it's probably. Do you have 2 ranks of survival?
I do not.
Okay. So you get a +2 to the roll. Go ahead and roll it.
Additionally, Ire is currently full.
Oh.
That particular moon.
Oh.
Because it is the 4th of the month. So that's a +5. So I'll be rolling 1d20 + 11.
Damn.
Yeah, that is what makes this actually feasible. Because otherwise, I don't know if that actually still meets. Oh, it does, just barely. Haha, successful.
Yeah.
Not good enough to get the capstone, but that's still.
That's fine. I will be showing what you're using here. What was the date?
It is no longer Therendor. It is Ire because we've passed through that, and so it is the 4th of Ire today.
Yeah. So, so that everybody at home knows what Zarak's doing. Zarak is a moon speaker druid, and she binds signs based on the moon. And so if we set the calendar for Eberron to the 4th of Ire, we can see that the moon. Oh wait, hold on. 4th of Ire. It's not full. It's waxing.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's +2.
Yeah, it's +2 instead of +5. Does that still make it for you?
It does not.
Okay.
Hilariously.
So, yeah, you have a bad pact, And so the bad pact, Delian, because you always get to see this charming thing,
Yes, I do.
Zeract puts a mix of twigs and rock fillings and herbs into the basin, like the sink, and sort of wets them with her own saliva, and then starts chanting the cave mother's name. And then when she's finished, she throws it into the hearth. And then a bunch of smoke fills the air, and it transforms into an apparition of this old shifter. And Zeract makes a bargain, and at the end of the bargain, Zeract normally has like hands that have seen some work, but these become the hands of like a 90-year-old carpenter.
Mm.
They're just like knobbly and calloused and just kind of like, not covered in like boils, but like bunions and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that seems to be the main physical sign of Cave Mother. But Zeract, you make a pact.
I most certainly do. Now, Cave Mother falls under the mage sign, and per the constellation benefit that I get from being a pact maker, I get to select one of the mage constellation aspects, and with her, I'm going to select Discern Arcana.
Okay.
And while I'm bound to her, I can cast Detect Magic and Read Magic at will as spell-like abilities.
All right.
As I recall, we've also used Detect Magic to identify stuff in the past.
Yes.
We
so
still have some shit to identify.
yeah, you have to roll a spellcraft check.
Okay.
And the spellcraft check, well, go ahead and roll it, and I'll let you know if you get it.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one, you have a robe, a cloak, and a belt to identify.
That is correct.
Which would you like to try?
The cloak.
That is enough. The cloak is a cloak of resistance +1. And go ahead and roll again for the next one, and tell me if you're doing the robe or the belt.
I will do the belt.
Okay. The belt is a belt of dexterity +2.
And I'll do one more of those. Save that real fast.
Hold on. That is actually not enough to identify the robe.
That's okay. I'm assuming that this is a once a day type thing.
Um,
What's the retry look like?
So, yeah, it says only once a day.
Okay, cool. That is still really, really good results. So let's see here. Zeract will grab these items and kind of bring them to the party for their consideration. Although at this point in time, given the kinds of situations we are likely to find ourselves up against, she is going to suggest that they loan the belt of dexterity to Delian.
I agree with that.
If nothing else, it gives him the opportunity to dodge out of the way of traps that might otherwise kill us. And if he dies, we just take it back.
It's a little bit awkward.
That's
He pulls out the kukri and hands it to Delian. I kind of made this for him already.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Do you want this pearl? I guess I imagine it. You want. Oh, thank you.
You made him a weapon so that he could kill the rest of us?
I made myself one too, and he holds out his glowing hammer now.
And I've been with you guys for some time, and I've not tried to kill any one of you. So that was pretty hurtful, gotta say.
You had every opportunity to run in that situation the other day.
There was an ogre in front of him. I don't think that's true in the slightest.
And Corley will say...
I think the belt should go to Lumio.
Corley will say, well, he did drop a sphere of darkness before he went down into the basement. I imagine that he could just do that again if he needed to get past the ogre. I don't know what good it would do, though. I believe ogres can see in the dark.
Oh, well. I didn't know that. That's good to know now. At least he gave me a head start. I appreciate that.
Very well, if you believe that Lumio is the better, able to make the most use of it, by all means.
Fucking Lumio, get another +1 to hit. It's all coming together, boys.
It's the end hit. You're welcome.
Oh, it is. Thank you.
And then we have a cloak.
Cloak of what?
Well, it's a cloak of resistance. Will help protect against untoward magical effects or
really anything that might adjust or alter your body or mind.
Oh, I mean, you and Sharut should keep it then.
She will give it to Sharut.
Can
Didn't
it?
you have another thing?
Is it too big for Sharut? Because we took that off of a medium creature. Yeah.
The funny thing about magic items, they often resize.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Alright.
Weapons and armor are the only things that need to be resized, and given who you have in your party, I'm just going to assume that they are.
Correct.
Fair. Fair.
Things like rings, boots, that sort of stuff. They will do the Lord of the Rings thing, and the ring on Sauron's hand that's a belt for Bilbo will just become a ring for Bilbo.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
There was a robe as well that I didn't have a chance to really suss the magic out of.
Oh, well, let me have a look at it.
Of course.
I do my smithing thing. What's this item?
Oh yeah, you can identify with appraise, huh?
Yeah.
Well, sir, this is a robe of gentle repose.
Mm.
Do you know what a robe of gentle repose is?
Yeah.
This would be good for bowing.
God
Oh,
damn it.
the timing, Joe.
Zeract, you should wear this. Is all I'll say.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Guys, I do not know what a robe of gentle repose is.
Gentle repose is a low-level cleric spell that prevents a corpse that you cast it on from rotting.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh.
If you give that to Zeract, she will just give it to the sister.
Yeah.
So
that's
you
fine.
hand it to Corley?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And she says, "No, this is good. I had to go out and get a few things before we get started today anyway. So I was waiting for Sidna to come. I can stop by the chapter house and have them place this on her body so that when it gets back to her parents' house, she is fit to be seen. Thank you."
The least we can do.
Yes. It's proper. We've been attacked.
Yeah, I was like, well, I guess this is where the press shift to run comes in.
This is what we get for being kind.
I knew I never should have trusted anything you said, Sharut.
What should we do?
Good Sharut.
So, as a since we're staying in this super nice hotel, this super nice inn right now.
Yeah.
Do they have fresh fruit?
Yeah.
Can I get fresh berries?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I use good berry on them.
Okay. Do you have to roll to see how many you get?
Let's see here. 2d4 freshly picked berries. It's magical. Well, I get to do it 6 times, and it lasts for 3 days when I do it. So yeah, let's just do all of them.
Okay. So you're rolling
times so-
2d4 6 times, so just roll 12d4?
Yep.
Okay. You have 32 good berries.
Fucking hot.
Nope.
Good thing the nice wagon did them. If it was a murder wagon, it'd be death berries.
So
Yeah.
the cool thing about these good berries, under the normal good berry spell, a good berry counts as a normal meal for a medium creature and cures 1 point of damage to a maximum of 8 points of damage over the course of a day. Cave Mother has super good berries, and they heal 1d8 points of damage plus 3, and you can be cured up to 13 hit points of damage over the course of a day. They will last for 3 days. So, in addition to Shrut's healing, Zeract now has a fuckload of temporary small healing.
Look at all those potions she's carrying.
Yeah. Cave Mother's pretty useful for low level healing if you are in a place where you can grab some berries. And you guys have a continental breakfast, so hey.
Yep.
You can grab some of the berries that were supposed to go in the oatmeal or something, and you grab a bunch of grapes and then a handful of blueberries and another handful of raspberries, and you're just like, this is a lot, and you just sit there going flop, 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 and then you eat the ones that aren't magical, and you're good to go.
Cool. Yep. There we go.
All right.
Andrin will use the pool before we leave.
Look, before we leave, I gotta use the pool. I know that we're on a time crunch, but this place is like 130 gold a night, and
I'm
you might
getting
not be
my
coming
pool.
back.
And also, I have the swim skill, damn it.
Sharut surprise. Sharut surprise, dwarf no swimming.
Oh, it's a vital survival tool.
Yeah. I was gaming with somebody once who, based on the math that was given in the book, figured out where dwarves would actually like balance out. And he goes, basically, if you're having somebody who plays with physics, you always take swim if you're playing a dwarf because they don't float to the top.
Yeah, no, correct.
It's like they level out about 50 to 60 feet below the top of the water.
Oh shit.
But yeah, you guys can enjoy the rest of the hotel. At some point, Forsidna will come and sort of take over, and Corley will leave and be gone for a couple of hours. She comes back with basically a small bag of purchases and kind of smelling strongly of like lavender oil, like perfume. And she speaks to Forsidna for a little bit, and then the two of them are ready to go.
Sweet. All right. So, Sharut, since this is kind of your thing, what do we do?
Sharut suggests we check perimeter. Hopefully find signs. If not, may need to break in.
Okay. Sounds like a plan then. Do you know where this place is?
Sherwood explains that he knows it's underneath. He knows it's in these catacombs, but just based off of what he knows of goblin societies, this place was probably much bigger than the information that he's seen about the catacombs themselves. So he's hoping that there might be some sign that some idiot overlooked, because this is a very big, dumb city. So he thinks that there might be something that somebody missed.
Okay, so you're going to go looking for a way in?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to try and be as discreet as possible about it. So I think he'll take Dillian, since he's the only other real stealthy member of the group, I should say.
So to be clear, are you looking for a way to break into the Church of the Sovereigns? Or are you looking for a way to try to break into whatever is left of Calders's like city?
The latter.
Okay.
If I can avoid going to the Church of the Sovereigns, I will. But
Okay.
I'm assuming that's going to be a bit of a long shot, because Sharut hasn't found a ton of information. He's found information of what it looks like in the church's catacombs, and that's about it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
So
Take-
before we head off, I'll just stop by Yelphus's room, because I'm assuming Yelphus went with us there.
Yeah, I assume Yelphus just slept on the floor in your room.
Okay. I just tap on the door. I'm gonna head out for a little bit. You probably gonna be resting up. You had it pretty rough, so I'm assuming you're gonna just stay here.
And he goes, "Yes, if you could sing a knock to the door when you come, I'll extinguish the light so that you don't have to experience it."
You want me to sing a knock? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I will. Yep, no problem. Will do. Rest up, bud. Finger guns.
And
You just said finger guns out loud.
he said finger guns.
Yeah, he says finger guns.
Why would you threaten to kill me?
Why are you the way that you are? Okay, so yeah, you leave Yelphus there, and he's just kind of hanging out.
Cool.
Yeah, and okay, so while Sharut and Dillian are going to be trying to get figure out a way into these catacombs, what are the rest of you doing?
The Lumio has a great deal of approximate knowledge of many things. He's got a lot of points and knowledge skills. Is there a place you could go to just kind of circumvent or arrive at the conclusion that Shrewd is looking for through a can I do a backup thing in a library to accompany what he's doing?
You can do a thing to accompany it. You can't necessarily do a thing to circumvent it. What Sharud is trying to find is very, very hard. Because if it was easy to find, somebody would have already, right?
Right.
So I think the way that I'm going to run this is not necessarily hinging on like, did Sharut get a 25? No, well then he fails. But as like a skill challenge of, if you guys get X number of successes before X number of failures, then you have succeeded. So yes, researching can potentially show you something that just walking around and checking out the area won't.
That's what I'm looking
but
for.
it's not guaranteed, just like walking around and checking out the area isn't guaranteed.
I was mostly trying to make sure that what Shrewd was attempting to do doesn't have a 100, it's pass fail.
Yeah.
So there's something else that we're looking at that's happening.
Look here, goddammit. We are playing a D20 system and it is a binary pass failure. If you don't roll an 11, you just lose. That's how it works.
All right, fair.
My father and his father before him.
Wait a second. Are they both playing still?
I don't know either one of them, so maybe. Who knows?
It was good enough for them. It'll be good enough for you too.
Okay, so you're going to go researching. Sharut and Delian are going to go a scouring.
Zoract will assist with the researching.
Okay, Zoract is going to go a researching as well. And that would include the duo. I'm really going to give them properly shaped tokens. And so I guess that leaves Dandarin. Dandarin, what are you doing?
Well, I will be doing my thing until people are done because I have projects waiting.
Okay. Cool.
So until interrupted action.
Yeah, so basically they're going to go and try to find a way into the dungeon, and until they tell you that, hey, we found a way into the dungeon, you're going to be crafting arms and armor and whatnot. Okay, sounds good. So, Sharut and Delian, I will start with the two of you.
Cool.
I'm gonna move you slightly up so that I can kind of separate things out, because it feels better in my head. This also enables me to put Ringer with Dandarin. Haha, take that, Dandarin.
I kill Ringer.
Oh, shit. Well, all right. Well, just put a little skull right there. Sharut and Delian. Sharut, you know, based on what the scholar told you, that what the temple is using as catacombs are basically they found them. They didn't build anything. They might have like reinforced a couple things, changed some stuff around, but for the most part they found them, and they are placing they're placing bodies there. They're building their mausoleum there, that sort of thing. But so you have a pretty good idea that if there's one around this area, the sort of temple district, whether it's the northern temple district or the southern temple district, you might be able to find more. Nothing guaranteed, but it's possible. So, what would you like to do to assist you in this?
Are you asking me what I'm looking for, or like?
Yeah, like what are you looking for? Like, because if you're just like, I'm searching every trash can, well, like you don't find it.
Well, so he's got a fairly strong historical knowledge, and he's got a fairly strong engineering knowledge. So, I think Sharut would be like really trying to find any hints that he possibly could of potential, like maybe something that is akin to a ruin, or
Okay.
could be a part of a ruin. So like maybe that wall of a building stone looks off and doesn't look like it's a part of the actual building, or there's some rubble on the side of the street that looks oddly Dakani-esque.
Okay.
Funny enough, I can help you with engineering.
Excellent.
Cool,
would be
because that's actually
much
what I was going to
appreciated.
ask for. So, I am going to need from the pair of you, and you can decide who does these checks and who assists with them. There are 3 checks that I need from each of you, are from the pair of you, sorry.
All right.
They are going to be knowledge engineering, they are going to be knowledge local,
Okay.
and they are going to be knowledge history.
Okay, so I have all 3 of those, and I'm just gonna spout out my stats. I got a 12 in engineering, 10 in history, and 10 in local.
You're gonna do them all. Like I have a 7 in engineering.
Cool. So you want to roll to assist first, and we'll see if that
Yeah.
gives me a +2. It does not.
No, that'll give you a +2.
I thought it was a 15.
No,
Maybe I'm crazy.
I think it's a 15 in 5th edition. It's only a 10 in
Okay.
Pathfinder.
Well, that's good.
That's
15 seems really high.
so. There's engineering.
Okay.
History, definitely not as good. Could I make a petition for a +1 with the scholar's knowledge or nah?
I think that's fair. Yeah, like she told you a good amount about it.
17, and then local. The map is not going to help me here.
No, not at all.
Doubt it.
There is no way. Okay. Dillian, you can still attempt to assist on the history and the local. It's just that since you don't have ranks in them, you can't get more than a 10 on those skills.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Knowledge skills are weird like that.
Well,
Okay, you
not
don't
helping
assist in
with
history.
because why would I?
Did you know they built that building last week? No, they didn't.
I heard there was a war some years ago, but I didn't hear about it.
They built this building last week. No, they didn't. You would know.
Okay, so you do give a bonus on the knowledge local. Okay. So I'm going to hold off there and jump to the other group. So Lumio and Zeract, you guys are going. Are you going back to the main library? This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got papers now.
Yeah, you do have papers. They will let you come in and examine things and all. Yeah, Zeract, do you have identifying papers?
Zeract does not have identifying papers.
Okay, so Lumio, they will let you come in and identify things and all.
Oh, all right.
And yeah, they basically tell you that if you want a proper library card, you have to either bring identifying documents from House Civis, or if necessary, and you just refuse to work with House Civis, they will accept it from the Blackfeathers.
Well, that's stupid. We should go to the other library.
What library?
Zeract is gonna take Lumio to the other library.
Okay, so you're gonna take him to the Arenal Mage.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, if they won't let me in here, we'll go speak to a Death Mage.
The whole way, she's like, "This is a much better library." The caretaker, she actually knows what she's talking about when it comes to magical theory and when it comes to important things, and she doesn't stop you at the door with some nonsense about papers. There's an illusion thing, but it's fine. It's a different kind of setup.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Lumio, you know that two things. Number one, somebody asking for your identification papers is a fairly common thing. It automatically happens when you cross the border. If you're on a road or at a place where they guard the border. It happens when you get on a train, when you get on an airship. It happens all the time. And you also know that the whole fuck you, I'm free is a very Eldine Reaches kind of viewpoint. It's very in character for someone who's I grew up in the boonies to have that. So
would you like to assassinate the character more, or should we move on?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you were there and you were pulling out your papers and you saw Coralie and Forsidna doing the same thing, and Zinzerag's fuck this, I'll just go. And they're just and they put their papers in and they follow. That's fantastic. So, Lumio, can you give me, Zeract, you know where the place that you have to pass through to knock?
Yep.
And once you do, the door opens. Lumio, you see Zeract walk through a wall.
Interesting. This is technically outside of my knowledge area.
Can you give me a will save, please?
Trick questions. +3 on that.
See if I can give you. Yes.
Roll.
Let's see what we got here. All right. Yeah, you are able to sort of push up against this illusory wall and then kind of fall through there for a second, and you realize that there's a door to this rather rectangular-looking tower, and yeah. After a moment, Corley will come up behind you, and she will push in as well. Forsidna tries for like a while, but is unable to get through, and you just see her kind of like sigh and stand outside.
Is it something where I could drag her through?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can try, but if you try, it doesn't work.
Yeah. She's trying to push through something that she thinks is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's running into that like weird mental dichotomy of I know this isn't real, but my body and my mind don't know that it's not real, and she just can't do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you are met in the parlor by a woman in full Arenal death mask. She is an elf, very pale skin, barely clothed, like it's mostly just these sort of like gauzy wrappings. She has a staff that is kind of a black wood with bones hanging from it. She has like marks on her skin made in like ash and brown and gray paint that have these like little wispy filaments kind of trailing from them, and she has a skull motif on her face. And
see? Proper library.
the proper library. And she will look to you, Zeract, and says, "Oh, you are back.
I am indeed.
Did you not find the information you were looking for before?"
We found some information, certainly. Was that of some use to you?
What you found was of use. It did not answer questions, but it did confirm them.
Well, we have a different sort of question, and perhaps there is a similar juncture of our two interests here.
What is your question, and I will tell you if there is something within my library that may be able to answer it.
We're looking for information about the old goblin ruins around this area. Anything that might assist with locating any sort of map or description, or might touch upon incursions into that space throughout the history of the town. I may include historical records from that time, or research from those who were simply poking around in the area.
You're speaking of the Goblin Empire that was here before.
Yes.
I may have some, but it will be lax. The goblins were not worth investigating in terms of arcane advancements for the most part. And as such, they have escaped my study. I do not find them to be very interesting. But there may be something there for you to look into. And she will sort of turn and do that kind of like blink turn where she's just walking forward and something keeps turning her at 90-degree angles. And she starts walking upstairs and upstairs, and upstairs. And eventually you are all in the level with the library. And she sort of sweeps a hand over it, and she says, "You may find smatterings of information that you would need everywhere, but information about the fall of the Decani is mostly contained to that shelf."
We may be interested in something that is slightly earlier than that. The active records of the Decani?
The Decani keep their active records in songs and poems. They tend to tell only the other Decani. Since they tell only the other Decani, and they do not keep a written record or trade in such a written record, I do not have such a written record. Most of the books that I have were written by the orcs.
I see. Thank you.
These are going to be troublesome texts for you. I will not charge you for them, mostly because I do not think you will enjoy the process of reading them. Be careful, be mindful. Should you start to feel anything untoward, that would be enough for the day, I think.
Warded or protected in some fashion?
And she shakes her head, and she says, "No, they are not warded. They are not protected. But the fall of the Takani is due to the influence of terrible things, and learning about the fall will require that you learn about said terrible things. Tread carefully. Once they latch on, they are loath to let go."
Neat. Excellent. Zerect will quite seriously just nod and thank you for the warning. That is appreciated. We'll see what we can do. And thank you for access once again.
Of course. Good luck to both of you, assuming
That is appreciated.
since I am assuming that your pet will not be reading with you. And she kind of glares at Corley and then turns and heads upstairs.
I'm assuming the turn is either just a single blink or a series of blinks.
Yeah, it's she always walks in a straight line,
Yeah.
but she will basically just like blink, 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 blink as she goes, so that she's walking in it. It is such a ludicrous use of magic, to just be constantly slightly doing little shadow steps. But beep, 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 beep.
It's delightful, and I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So for the two of you, again, there are a series of rolls that you can make. I will let you know what those rolls are. Roll number 1 is going to be knowledge planes. Roll
Got that?
number 2 is going to be spellcraft. Roll number 3 is going to be knowledge arcana. Again, just like with the pair of Sharut and Delian, you guys are able to determine who is going to be the primary and who is going to assist. But basically, there's one roll for this.
My knowledge of the planes is low compared to my other knowledges.
My knowledge of the planes and arcana are high because that's something that I.
That's what you do. Yeah. Okay. But I also have knowledge spellcraft. How are you on that?
Spellcraft, I am somewhat mediocre in.
Okay. Mine's about as high as my knowledge of arcana. So I feel like I should probably take that just because that'll be the anchor side of it.
Okay. So you're going to roll spellcraft, and Zeract will assist?
Yep.
So just to be sure, is that is it we get one of these 3 choices, or we get rolls for each of these?
No, you all get rolls. Both of you get rolls for each of them. But for each skill, one of you is the primary and the other is assisting.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will definitely assist with spellcraft.
Okay. And then I would assist with the planes as the first, and then
you guys can discuss the arcana after that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I'll roll to assist spellcraft.
Okay. And then Lumio, go ahead and roll your spellcraft. Zeract will assist you, so you get a +2 to whatever your normal is.
There we go. Well, still 15.
Still 15?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Zeract, go ahead and roll your knowledge planes, and then Lumio, you can roll to assist her in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit me with assist.
There's my assist.
Okay. +2.
Okay.
Is
That I rolled a 1.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. So my
Well, you
My
didn't. No,
knowledge
you didn't.
arcana-
You didn't roll a 1. You rolled a 3.
But yes, where the assistant rolls higher than the main.
hold on, then that's 2 higher because that's not taking into account because I have 13 ranks, or I have a total of a 13 bonus.
Okay.
So
So it's an 18.
It's an 18. Do I get the research bonus for being in a library, or is this sample size of books too small?
I'm not treating her library as able to actually provide a research bonus. It's very small. Like
Totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an 18, and that's what it is.
Okay.
So my Arcana check, Lumio, is going to be at that same bonus pretty much.
Okay. Then I'll assist you.
Cool. Let's see. I'm assuming that this also is not going to take into account. Jesus. Yeah, it's still too higher than that. So that's 19. I don't know. I'm rolling like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the classic. The assistant should have done the job.
Yeah. It happens almost every time somebody assists in Pathfinder. It's really weird. Okay. So that gives us a real quick. So we have engineering, at a engine was a 28. History was a 17. Local was an 18. We have we have spellcraft at a total of 22. Was it 22? No, that's the one where Lumio rolled the yeah. So spellcraft was a 17. Hold on. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. 8 plus 2. I was looking at the one below that where it's just +2, and I was like, why didn't you add your ranks? Planes of 20 and or is that planes of 18? Planes of 18.
Planes of 18, and then Arcana of 19.
Arcana of. Okay. So, Sharut, here is what you were able to put together from like looking around, asking things, looking at the way the buildings are constructed, the temple structures, that sort of stuff. A lot of times in the Hobgoblin Empire, you'll have undercities and overcities, and undercities are like the real city. It's where the goblins are. And it's because the goblins can do things like, see in the dark, and they don't mind the caves. So the goblins, the hobgoblins, the bugbears, they'll be in sort of like the cave part or in like these huge mountain structures and that sort of thing. And the overcities tend to, for the most part, for the Dakanis, they just house slaves, or they had markets, or they had like places for armies to gather to march. You tended to not march underground because you're really at the whims of whatever weird tunnel you find, and marching above ground saves a lot of time. But looking around where you are, you notice that in the sort of nicer parts of town, a lot of the places up north where you're seeing buildings, like here, the bigger buildings, a lot of them have some older structures around them. So you'll see like garden stones that are just like recreated from the shin up about, but like the base is clearly older. You are thinking that whatever the undercity and the overcity were, they were probably roughly equal in terms of like placement. And so to put a big circle-ish sort of space on it, you're thinking that Kaldurz's site was sort of in this area. So pretty much if you were to go down deep enough and the ruins aren't just completely collapsed and wrecked and all that, you should find something down there. But you reach a point where you're south of this, where you're in like, this area down here, where you don't see any of that sort of like old overcity construction. So if you need to go down somewhere, it's going to be here, somewhere in this general area. However, the thing about this dude being one of the last guys at the fall of the Empire is that it's really hard to know much about him, like at all. That human that you spoke to knew a bit more than you did about this guy. This isn't someone who you have much about, because by the time he had really come into power, the war with Zoriat was like kind of on its way out,
and we were already underground,
and you guys were already underground, and he was just desperately trying to keep his little piece together. So you don't have much history to go on. But when you start sort of walking around with the Leon and like, looking at people and asking some questions, you remember something that the scholar said. What's her name? Kaya. You remember something that Kaya said about the catacombs, and that the catacombs are extremely cold. And so you start inquiring to various, like clothing merchants. Like, hey, anybody come in lately and just buy like a bunch of like winter cloaks, or have you heard of anything like that? Or do you guys ever hear of people running around wearing like thick cloaks that they just seem kind of out of place or anything like that? And while everybody is very willing to tell you that they did hear about somebody on the southern part of town who was walking around in a thick winter coat and no pants, the majority of them don't have much to say. But when you do speak to one particular cloak merchant and you are able to, kind of slide a couple of coins their way, they let you know that some of the new House Thrash prospects have it in their mind that they're going to go into the Khyber below town. And going into the Khyber below town, apparently it's cold. And they didn't know that. They popped out and they were like, it's freezing down there. And so they came to buy some cloaks. And so she lets you know that. And she's like, so maybe you can ask them. But that's what you get from her. So the other group, so it's an odd thing trying to look up goblin spells because, well, it's not so weird for you, Lumio, because goblin spells are almost entirely sort of like war based.
Yeah. Which is fascinating.
Yeah. They're not the kind to go like, and then you use this to like make a magic trick. It's like, and then you shoot this signal flare. Here's the magical signal flare language. So you're finding out like essentially interesting tactics and ways that they use them, but you're not able to put together anything in terms of direct spell knowledge that might help you to identify a way into this dude's place. However, excuse me, Zeract and Lumio, you find out that Predna's Kaldurgs was an amazing warlord towards the end of the Dakani, and it was because in his fight against one plane, he reached out to another. The reason he has settled here is because this place, not on the surface, but down, far down, is a manifest zone. And it's an odd manifest zone because like the surface often reflects it a little bit, but this one it doesn't, like at all. And as soon as you realize that, Zeract, and you realize like the things that Sharut was saying about him, this dude was apparently very well versed in cold magic. He was tapping into some sort of primal power in Risia.
Absolutely. No, that makes a ton of sense.
And putting that together with some of the sort of key facets of Risia, because Risia is a weird place. It's not just, hey, there's ice, or hey, there's snow and it's cold. Risia is the ever ice. Like, it's a place of eternal winter, and things there stagnate. They just, like, you'll just be like, well, from the people that have been to the plane and written stories that you've read, they'll walk by places where there's just like people frozen while walking who have just been there frozen while walking for centuries, because these were referenced in text from like the beginning of the Age of Galifar. So it kind of occurs to the two of you that at first this guy probably reached out to Risia just because he had some skill at this thing. He had some skill with frost, and it made him dangerous, and it made his army dangerous. But given what Sharut said about he was trying to keep a stranglehold on it, he probably sort of overextended with the whole like things don't change here part of Risia to try to keep his place up,
right,
and going. You may be able to use like temperature type tricks. Like, hey, it's colder this way than this way, so we have to go that way to find it. But you know that cold is definitely going to be a factor where you're going.
Yeah.
And for Arcana, the two of you are able to put together that clearly his plan didn't work of keeping things together. But it might explain this way that Starlasker tends to change very slowly, and while people are moving on the surface, and there's this kind of like bustle in town. In general, there's kind of a malaise here too, which sort of fits with that plane. But you know that there are some ways to track those sorts of things. There are ways to use magic to sort of try to locate manifest zones. You don't personally have them. You never personally need them. And while, like, I know you've probably been to a couple in the Reach, you've never really, like, discovered one except by accident,
Right.
below the mine. But you know that sort of thing exists because manifest zones they're important. They're like a key part of Eberron. And they would be. There's definitely a way to track that thing down if you can figure it out.
So I will note that Rissia's moon is full. Dravago is full as of today. Dravago, the moon that Rissia is connected to.
Yeah, it's
Right.
Dravago.
Is it? Oh wait, no, it's not full. Never mind.
Oh no,
you
wait.
get the wrong one.
It's not Dravago. It's Aerith. Why do?
Is it Aerith?
Yeah. Why do we have it switched on the thing?
I think
Rissia's moon is Aerith.
Okay.
So it is full.
Yeah, so Aerith is full right now, which means, I would hazard that Zerect might be able to connect those and use those to some degree, but trying to find a mechanic to do so, a method to do so, makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Since I suspect that this, I suspect that this Ireni elf is either probably somewhat familiar with connections to some of the other planes, probably Mabar, if she's really into the Bad Dead, or Dolor.
All Arenol are familiar with Mabar.
Yeah, or Irian, which would be, I believe, the opposite. Zarak's gonna hazard a guess and see if she can drag her into a conversation about how she might go about tracking that.
Sure thing. But first,
Yep.
The two of you, can you give me will saves?
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah. Just need to borrow that cloak of resistance here really fast. Good. Never mind. Zarak is amazing at will saves. It's fine.
It's pretty good.
Zarak, you read some pretty terrifying stuff about the fall of the Dakani.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that you have not necessarily experienced before, but it's stuff that you're not completely unfamiliar with. You're not completely unfamiliar with things like nightmares and insanity and, just that staggering level of loss.
Yeah.
Lumio, as you're trying to help Zarak delve into a couple of stories written by Orcish gatekeepers at the end of the Zoriat War with the Dakani. So the war between Zoriat and the Dakani is a war where the plane of madness just basically tries to take over the whole world, and they just start wrecking the Goblin Empire. This is the plane where things like the Dalekir, Beholders, Illithids, aberrations in general are spawned from, and they introduce to this race something that they don't really have, which is like fiction. They introduced like an ineffable and terrible possibility to the Dakani. The Dakani, before this moment, didn't have things like nightmares. That wasn't a thing that they had to worry about. But but as you're reading this book and it's describing how entire portions of the Empire went from legions and legions of fighting men to having aboleths come out of the ocean and crack open the mind of different commanders, and these people just believed in their commanders so much that when they would tell them to turn on each other, they would unquestioningly. And it's rough. You are shaken for a while. Like you just like you're basically reading like almost firsthand accounts of, so there was this time when eldritch horrors leaked into our world and they only wrecked half the planet.
Yeah. God, they love writing stories about that. I tell you what.
Here are some first-hand accounts.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Here are some firsthand accounts from people who were there and saw it.
Yeah.
500 pages later.
Yeah. Exactly that.
So yes, Lumio, until you get back to New Seer, you will have a -1 to will saves.
Okay. That's a long time.
Maybe.
Don't read any more of these books. Or do. I'm not your boss.
Should I be doing this? I'm not your dad. Okay. So at that point, do you guys get together at the loudly banging wagon?
If I can convince the Irani to tell me about how to track down manifest zones, maybe.
Give me a diplomacy check.
I'm gonna roll like Eric. I'm gonna roll like John. I'm gonna roll like John. There we go.
1 sec. Sorry. And she says, finding a manifest zone is a very difficult prospect, but it is a prospect. These are things that can bring great wealth, but also great power, privilege, and danger. I will give you a method that I know has been used, but I will not show you how to use it. And if we are being honest, I do not hope that it works for you. And she will basically give you ways to key certain items that would be of that plane to that plane, and it might work. And she makes it very clear, this might work. You can't just like take a skull and then go out and find a manifest zone to Mabar.
Right.
So it's, if what you are seeking is Lamagna, you will need trees and beasts. You will need seeds and acorns and rocks. Lava works, tornadoes if you can harness one. But after that, it is less about the materials and more about the spirit. If your spirit is strong enough to properly douse, you may be able to find them. And if it is not, well, that is far more typical. But so basically, you have a process that might work. It is. I'm not gonna lie, gonna be a difficult roll, but it's one that might work.
Can I do something as well before we meet up again?
Sure. What's up?
Since we're in that area of the town, I wanted to know if I could go into this library, and specifically, I'm looking for building records because I assume that's where they would be kept.
You said in here.
Yeah. Unless that's something that would be more kept at like the city hall area, but I don't think I know where that is.
It depends on what you're looking for. Like they could be kept at both. You can always ask. So yeah, you go in. There's that dude at the front desk who goes, "Oh, it's you again."
Before he has a chance to speak, Sherwood's already showing him his papers.
All right.
Sherwood like know if have records of building here.
What do you mean records of building? Like of this building?
Buildings around city, construction details, blueprints.
We'd have records of some. You'd probably have better luck if you were looking at the actual university or if you go down to City Hall. But we'll have some, especially if they're, the bigger ones, the older ones, the more impressive mansions. Anything that's key enough to let a house or a guild be interested in it.
Where's this city hall?
It's in the city center. Where else would it be?
Maybe somewhere else. But now I know.
Sherwood think check here first.
Cover
then
the
meet
bases.
with others. We meet with others.
Delian, do
Maybe
you have
find information here.
Do you have papers?
Yeah.
Okay. He will check the papers from the two of you and say, all right, standard diatribe. Don't steal nothing. Don't mark in anything. Leave everything as you found it. Don't restock the books.
Restock the books. We can't
Sure.
add books?
Sherwood is kind of like waving him along.
Shorut, no. Yes, yes.
And he grabs like an orb this time.
But but what if I really wanted to add a book? God, I guess I'll never know.
He's not saying don't give a book to the library. He's saying don't put a book on a shelf.
Oh,
If there's
Julian
one
misunderstood.
No, if there's one thing that librarians hate, it's when other people restock books because they always put it in the wrong spot.
Well, I think Julian didn't understand that, and I'm gonna keep going with my line of thing. But that's good to know.
Sounds good. Okay, so Sharut, you are basically trying to find like
Blueprints for the old buildings in the northern area of the town.
Okay, go ahead and give me a knowledge history check, and you'll get a bonus for the library.
Which is a
Hold on, I'm looking at.
And I can assist you.
oh sweet.
I only get a 10, but that's
It's enough for an assist.
yeah, that's what I was hoping. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd just be finding other things.
I
within a
imagine
library.
Sharut's like flipping through a book and he's like pointing over at the wall. That next. Grab.
You will get a +4 to your roll.
Okay, so with Dillian's assist, that's a +6.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, that ain't shabby.
Not a bad roll.
It's pretty frantic. Table's pretty piled up with books, I'd imagine.
Dillian. Dalian.
Dillian.
Yeah, it's Delian.
Ah, that one's right.
Dillian. Durlian. Okay, so
Just don't call me Dandarin.
just don't call me Dandarin. He hates that. That's why I keep calling myself Dandarin.
All right, Henry, you can do this, fella. You got it.
He's just...
Why are you doing that?
The idea that Dillian would psych himself up
myself.
by calling himself Dandarin is totally something that Dillian would do.
He would.
All right, Dillian, you can do this. All right, Dandarin, you can do this. You were raised in the Moorholds. You're a strong dwarf. You just start quoting his background that Dillian definitely doesn't know.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you doing there? Oh, just talking to myself.
Who are
Giving
you?
myself
What have you
next-
done?
Blah blah blah, my brother. Blah blah, my brother. My family, my brother. I sure do love anvils. Blah blah blah.
Metal be good. Nom nom nom. I eat ogre.
Something about mushroom people. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Hey, Liam, can I see that kukri I made you? Oh, yes, that's
Absolutely.
nice. You can have it
Absolutely
back.
not.
Just stab it. Guys.
Fear of darkness. I must leave.
I can see in the dark, you idiot, and chase him down.
Fine hook shot. Bye.
Oh
Anyway,
yes, trip the dwarf that worked so well last time.
Nope. I fly away.
So, Sharut, the most grand and oldest structure in the city is the temple.
Okay.
And what you are able to find out in the library is that what is now the temple of the sovereign host was not a temple to the sovereign host. It was basically what they call like the road entrance, or like the tunnel entrance to the Undercity. It is the place where other people. It was the main place where the other people would go to go down. However, you find that there are 3 different mansions, and they are, for the most part, the big buildings up here, right there, right there, and right there, that have a strong like they are still in the outline of where they were when like the city was sort of like being built, and not only that, they still have a lot of the same stone. So you can imagine that if they were important above ground places, they may have places or ways to get below ground as well. That is the main thing that you find. For the most part, a lot of the new structures will follow the shape of the the ruins that were here before, but they won't necessarily be built on them. Those 3 houses in particular are like about half and half, old construction and new.
Okay. Sharut will mark those on his map.
Okay, and I will mark them for you on this map.
Thank
They
you.
are this one, this one.
You can put a little smiley face if you want to, like right up here.
I'm good forever. Thanks, though.
Hell yeah.
I really like that. Not just I'm good, but I'm good forever.
I'm good forever. Yeah, it really seals the deal on that thing.
It really does.
It took us home. That's good.
So, cool. So you have more information. You have a good idea of multiple places where you can try to get in, and then there's always the old standby of like, if nothing else, I guess we'll just go to the Temple of the Sovereigns, and we will, ask whatever priest of whatever sovereign host there, hey, can we go play in your graveyard?
I've got this grenade I really want to use.
I've got this grenade, and I think we could really do some excavating.
Hear me out.
You heard the no before he said it.
So here's the thing. What if, yes.
Did you need space for more bodies? I can help you.
I can help you with that.
That sounds actually. How would that happen?
So
Well, you see,
do you guys want to do a quick like get together and download before we're out for the night, or do you want to be out for the night and then we can do that next week?
I think that makes a good recap for next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
use that as a recap for next week, and then we in the meantime we will see everybody then. Thanks everybody for joining us. And next week we will begin some dungeon delving. So,
Thanks for joining us.
all
Have
right.
a good
good
one, everyone.
night.
Yep.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
They're blonde.